Well, hello everyone. Trucker Todd here. Sorry it's a little late tonight. My hat's a little crooked. It's just been one of those days. Let me get the ticker up and I'll tell you guys what's been going on. And then we'll get to some of your comments. So, the biggest reason, there's actually a couple of reasons why today's show's late. The biggest reason is when I booked this load a couple of days ago, I told them I was going to deliver it on Wednesday. Well, today at about 3:30, they called me and said, "Is there any way I could deliver it today?" I said, "Yeah, but it said the cutoff was 3:30, and it's probably going to be about 4:30 before I could get there." And he's like, "Oh, all right, we'll just tell them tomorrow then, like you'd originally said." And I said, "Well, I know a lot of people. It's a load delivering in Lubbock." I said, "Let me call over there and talk to them." So I called over there and he said, "Yeah, if you'll come over at 4:30, we'll unload you. Would you mind helping us?" And normally I say no, but since they're doing me a favor and it was going to benefit me, I said, "Yeah, I'll help you unload it. I've got to get some blood work done tomorrow, and then I'm going to try to go right back out to work tomorrow if I can find a decent load out of here." And so I went over there. I got unloaded. It was the old way where they didn't have a dock. They threw a pallet jack in the back of the trailer, and it took about 2 hours to unload the trailer. So that's the reason for the delay. Now, the other thing was that I was supposed to have a guest come on tonight, the guy that was going to talk about health insurance, and he's moving houses this week, and he didn't get me all the information he needed to get me, so I had to cancel him last minute. You guys know before I bring anybody on here that I like to vet them, check them out real good. I've only been burned once so far. A guy I really trusted kind of didn't treat me in an ethical way in my mind, and so I've become a lot more careful than that because of that. Now, also you might notice I'm still not wearing my Modcom One Eco Pro headset, the solar powered one. I'm in Lubbock, but I haven't got to go home yet. It's sitting at the house. So this will be the last video that you see with this headset, unless I have problems with the other one. And so I'm excited to get that back. I should have put the box up so y'all could see it. And it's a great headset. It's actually my favorite that I've ever wore. And if you guys are interested in it, I'll put a link down in the comments so that you guys can check it out for yourselves. I know several of you said you was waiting until payday and then you were going to order it. Oh boy, I don't know what it sent. Anyway, it may be a technical Tuesday. Also, other things that's going on. A curse turned into a blessing. You guys might know a couple of weeks ago, my Samsung that I use for a lot of things, I've got the Z Fold 4 with 1 TB of memory. The screen screwed up on it, and I sent it into Samsung for warranty work, and they contacted me yesterday and said that they couldn't get parts for it. They couldn't find a replacement. So they're refunding me my purchase price of the phone, about $2,300. And it'll take about a week to get that money. But I thought, man, if I didn't like Samsung before, I definitely like them now. I basically used that phone for almost a year, and they're going to refund me what I paid for it on the day I purchased it brand new. And I think I actually pre-ordered it. So I'm really excited about that as well. Let's see, there's probably some other stuff going on that I can't think of right now, but let's hop up here and say hello to some people that's been waiting a while. Midlife's been waiting for about 30 minutes now. Says bye watch. Yeah, I wasn't late today because of that. I was late because I ended up having to deliver today. and I wasn't planning to deliver until tomorrow morning. It kind of threw everything off. Asphalt Jungle, who's usually the first one here, said, I'll be in and out. Harvest hauling started today in my area. On the silage side, may have to catch on the rewind. That's all right, man. I appreciate you dropping by. Good friend Ted is here. Hello, Mr. Todd. Hope all is well. Yeah, it's getting better. I'm working like a dog right now, and I'm slowly digging myself out. But yeah, it's been good. Also, my friend Gary Cook is here. I'm listening going through I-12 in Louisiana. I'll be stopping at Slidell, Louisiana. There, I'm assuming at the TA. Hopefully, you can find parking. That place fills up really, really quick. Tim says he's here, gonna eat, and then drive about an hour, and then he'll be on when he parks. He's gonna listen, so keep it clean. I always tease Tim that I'm gonna come on here and talk bad about him, but honestly, don't know anything bad about him. Also, next Tuesday, I said I like to vet guests before we bring them on and interview them. Next Tuesday, I've got a really, really good friend of mine that's coming on. He's going to talk about a company he went to work for. He's really happy. He started off, well, when I met him, he did a lease purchase, and the company he was with, he was having trouble getting miles, getting loads. Now he's a company driver, and they're running him over 3,000 miles a week. And so I thought it'd be good to bring him on, let him share his story and his experience. And some of you guys that are struggling right now, y'all may want to take a look at his company and see if it could be the answer that you're looking for. So he's a real credible guy. I trust him. I feel real comfortable about bringing him on and just talking to him about his experience and what he's learned, things like that. I know he's a little nervous, but he's a good guy, so y'all take it easy on him next Tuesday. I'll be passing through Slidell tomorrow afternoon, stopping in Mobile, Alabama for first stop in the morning, then on to Louisiana for the final. Well, there you go. Good deal, man. Taking bets on whether Trucker Todd will have technical difficulties tonight. The best is 99-1 on the house, so either way, the house wins. I just want to know what my cut of it is, because I can make the show have technical difficulties, or sometimes I can pull off a near flawless show. So far, it's doing pretty good. Internet seems to be pretty strong, but I'm cheating right now. I'm in Lubbock, so I know which network to hop on and things like that based on my location here in Lubbock. Haven't gone home yet. My wife is over helping a friend of hers. They're putting horseshoes on a horse. I think's what they're doing. Anyway, they're working on a horse tonight. And so it's going to be a little while before she can pick me up. And so we're going to go and do this video till she becomes free. Joe Bananas is here. Thanks for being here, my friend. Tim Rushing, man, I hadn't seen you in a long time. Hello, Trucker Todd. Hello, Tim Rushing. Red Raider Reloading says, hello, all. Thanks for being here, my friend. No Fear made it in. I was a little worried because there's some other people live tonight. And I was also worried because this time of night, a lot of you guys are in bed already. But I appreciate that everybody hung around and waited on me. And like I said, this was not planned. I had originally set that load up to deliver tomorrow because I knew I had a video to do tonight, and I knew I was supposed to have that insurance guy on. But I guess they're really needing the product I had, and they asked if there's any way I could do it tonight. So, yeah, it worked out that I could do that and still come on here. Travis Jones, hey, Todd, checking in from Des Moines. Freight has picked up. I agree. Rates are slowly starting to come up. They're still not where I'd like them to be. But I think at this point, there's room for optimism. And I know for a lot of us, including myself, it couldn't come a minute too soon. But yeah, we've gone through a valley, and we need some good months, and I hope that's what we're seeing right now. I'm cautiously optimistic, is what I would say. Hey, my good friend John Toohey is here. Thank you for coming in, my friend. Watching from the Pilot in Sioux City. Well, thank you, Daryl, for coming in. Again, for some of you that go to bed early, I apologize. There was just no way around it today. It was either cancel the show, which I know you guys love when I do that, or come on late. Daniel Ross is here. Thank you for being here. I like that KW, by the way. Hello, Michael. Thank you for being here. I don't know what it did when I posted those links. Red Raider Reloading says John Rich, country singer, and two others opened up a bank, Old Glory Bank. Yeah, John Rich is also a Fox News contributor, or used to be, and he's from the band Big and Rich. I did not know they opened a bank. I'm assuming it's in Tennessee because I know he lives in Nashville. But I'll have to look into that. Uh, I like John Rich. Yeah, if you get a chance, send me the link on the article, and I'll read about it. Tim Rushing says, "Hello, Todd. Signed up for ES Advantage. You'll be glad you did. That card is amazing. I got some money coming in this week and next week, and I'm going to start funding it like I used to and really using it. The hardest part is getting started, but honestly, once you get it going, you're saving so much money that you don't even notice it. And anybody that hadn't checked that out, I believe it put that link in the comments I threw up there too. So y'all check out that headset, check out ES Advantage. Heck, get the Mudflap app. I think it gives you like a $10 credit if you fuel within the first 10 days of using it or getting the card. So that's what a couple of gallons, not a lot, but hey, free diesel. Ramon says he's here in Oxford, Alabama. Well, thank you for coming in tonight. You're welcome, my friend. Check back with us and let us know how much you're saving. I found that when I use it full time, I save about 13 or 1400 a month. RTB sent me a peace sign. Thank you, sir. On StreamYard, it says hand purple blue peace. I've got blood work as well tomorrow, pre-surgery stuff. Wouldn't it be weird if we ended up at the same place getting our blood work done? I imagine yours is at the hospital for pre-surgery stuff. Mine's at the doctor's office on 82nd Street. No Fear says he's listening too. I appreciate you being here, my friend. Anyone know where to get a high pressure fuel kit for a DD15? No luck at Freightliner. This will sound, and I'm probably going to get chastised for saying this, but with TA being an authorized Freightliner dealer, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't be opposed to checking with them. Also, Fleet Pride. If you've got a Fleet Pride in your area, they seem to have a lot of truck parts. That's where I got the starter for my truck when I was going through orientation. Some of these other guys may have some other ideas, but sometimes you get lucky and catch it at a Freightliner, or like say if there's a Fleet Pride or something like that around there. I'm the 99, you're the one. So I guess what Tim's saying is I got a 1% chance of this not being a technical Tuesday. Well, but I still win because whatever you win, you got to split the earnings with me. Abandon is here. Hello, everyone. Craig Hutchinson's here. Hey, my friend. Good evening, Trucker Todd. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for staying up late and hanging out with me tonight. Life on 18 Wheels, waving at everybody. Thanks for joining us. Almost completed my first week pulling a dry box. What'd you think? How many miles did you get for the week? Did freight seem pretty steady, or did you sit a lot? Also, Michael has a great suggestion that I should have mentioned and didn't. Check with Truck Pro for parts. Sometimes they'll have it as well. So the great thing about, and I don't think nobody will debate this, the truck brand that is easiest to get parts for is a Freightliner. And so you should have a decent shot of finding that part somewhere, even if the Freightliner dealer doesn't have it. Now, having said that, I'm trying to think of what probably the hardest truck to get parts for, and I would say it's probably a Mack. Maybe a Volvo, probably a Mack. What do you guys think? Let me take a drink. My throat is dry. I've been on the phone all day. Just noticed my face looks sunburned too. I am sick of this 100+ degree heat. I'm ready for it to be sunny and 75 or sunny and 70. Yeah, Midlife says some parts are made of unobtainium. That's funny and true at the same time. I just mentioned that my Samsung phone, Samsung themselves, couldn't get parts for it and couldn't find me a replacement of the 1 terabyte variety, so they had to send me my money back. And so, yeah, it seems like COVID kind of turned everything upside down, and there's some stuff you just may not be able to get parts for. I think I have one of my trucks at Louisville Peterbilt waiting for a part. Wonder what part it is. Is it one of the DEF parts, like that little 3-in-1 leveler? I forget what it's called. You know what I'm talking about? The little 3-in-1 DEF part down there. I done forgot what it does. I had to wait on one of them dang things before. About 3,400 not having to take showers after loading and unloading with open deck was what I like. Oh yeah, I bet. I bet. It's a lot of time, and I guess that's a debate that flatbedders and reefer and dry van have had for a long time. Flatbedders will always point to, well, we get tarp pay, we get striping pay, and all of that. And reefer and dry van will say, yeah, but we're able to get in and out quicker, unless you're at a grocery warehouse. But usually, and so it's probably a debate that'll go on for the lengths of time. But I'm glad you had a good week. And sounds like Michael's comment of 3,400 miles this week, and some of the other people I'm hearing from, sounds like freight is starting to come back. So we may be, a few weeks away from things going back to normal, whatever normal is. No Fear says go on eBay for that part. Yeah, that's another great suggestion. Even Amazon has some parts sometimes. Also, some of the Rock Autos and stuff, sometimes they'll have parts, but I think you can't go wrong with Truck Pro and with Fleet Pride and some of those people. Shorts 2.0 says, oh my. Got to go, Trucker Todd. I have to get up at 4 a.m. for my delivery. Thanks again for all the good info. Thanks for coming in, man. It was good to see you again. Hopefully, you can join us Wednesday night at 5 p.m. Central. We'll do this all again. No Hippie says they're waiting on an ECM at that dealership. Man, that really sucks. You would think computers and things like that, they would have a significant amount of them in storage somewhere. That's electrical parts. Seems like as trucks become more advanced, that you're going to replace those parts more often, and you would think that'd be something that wouldn't be so hard to get. Or you would think that there'd be a company that refurbished them, and you could send yours in and they'd fix it and send it back. But who knows? There's probably some copyright law or something that prevents them from doing that. Yeah, I agree with you. You work for all that extra pay. You will definitely work for it, brother. Yeah, those tarps and everything are heavy, and if you got to throw chains, and it's some work. When I was in truck driving school, I was 23 years old. I seriously considered doing flatbed, and I was a lot healthier back then, and who knows where my life would be now if I'd have done that. But when I see these guys out in the rain and snow doing that, and I hear about guys slipping and falling off of trailers, I'm glad I went the route that I did. No Fear says true. Matthew Miller has another good one. Napa, who I always forget about. Napa is usually a little more expensive, but they do have a good selection of parts. And here at the warehouse in Lubbock, they've got a big Napa warehouse here, and I know some of the guys in there, but I always forget to check with them. Good evening, Todd. I'm out farming tonight. Man, a lot of people don't know this, but when I was a kid, up until probably my junior or senior year in high school, my dad was a cotton farmer, and we had a pretty big farm. And today I was unloading at like an equestrian center where they had a lot of horses and stuff. And I got to admit, for a minute, I thought, man, this would be fun to do again, to work on a farm and do that kind of work. But then I thought, nah, I think I'll get back in my truck where it's air conditioned. I was telling that forklift guy, we were kind of talking, and I was like, man, you seem like you've got the perfect job, riding horses and kind of working the ranch and the farm all day. He's like, yeah, it's perfect most of the time, but not days like today where it's 106. And I think he was exaggerating a little bit. I don't think Lubbock got to 106 today, but I know it's been 106 a few times here lately. I've had 3 great weeks, but paying a driver breakdown pay and hotel bills are eating me alive. Yeah, that you guys might remember a few months ago, several guys in here was wanting me to start my own trucking company and let guys lease their trucks onto me and stuff like that. And that's what that's what I always worry about is the overhead. Maybe not for the truck because it'd be guys bringing their own truck, but if the trailer had an issue and it took a few days to fix it, the guys are going to want breakdown pay. They're going to want hotel pay, and there's just a lot of expenses there. I don't know if it's worth it or not, but hopefully they'll get you up and running soon. How much longer are they saying that ECM is going to be before it comes in? He's another YouTuber. You can check him out if you're curious about his videos. When they tell me they don't have any parts for my truck, I start calling other dealers to try to find someone who has it in stock. That has served me well. I do the research myself, and the shop will often not take the time. Yeah, that's also great advice. Um, they should be able to look it up. I believe those parts, because I know they've done it for me before. When I was looking for that starter, They said, I think the nearest dealership that had the starter was Atlanta, and the starter was going to be like $700 through the dealership, and we found it through Fleet Pride with taxes and all for 501, and was able to get it that day instead of having to wait a couple of days for it. Yeah, we need to put an asterisk by this comment. So, Red Raider Reloading said he did 2,300 miles last week, like he does every week. He's lazy. Yeah, he's on a dedicated deal, and honestly, it's a pretty gravy deal. If I wanted to be a company driver, I'd probably consider doing what he's doing. But yeah, he still makes bank running 2,300 miles a week. Let's not shed any tears for him, and he deserves it. He's been there a while. He's a good guy, safe driver. I grew up working on a horse farm. I couldn't wait to get away. You did. It wasn't for you, huh? I love riding horses, and I hadn't rode horses in many years. But if I'd have had a little more time and not have had to do the show tonight, they'd have probably let me ride one out there. When I get in this area of Texas, I know a lot of people. A lot of people know me, so oftentimes I get unloaded outside of hours or early. Or the last time I came to Lubbock with a load, they unloaded me. They priority unloaded me. He had some other stuff he was supposed to do, but he unloaded me first and then went back to doing his stuff. And so I like getting in this area. I like pulling loads around here because a lot of these places treat me like royalty. Russell says, "Hey, I got a PM done today on a 34. I think technically you're not supposed to do that, but I'm glad you got it taken care of. I typically try to do mine when I'm at home too. Mainly if you deal with the same shop every time, they know you and they don't try to stick it to you like if you're doing one out on the road. There is some shops out on the road that I've had good experiences with in the past. And if I happen to need a service and I'm near one of them, I'll stop there. Now, here's an excellent idea. This is thinking outside the box. This is probably why I'll bet you No Hippie's pretty successful because he can think outside the box. They're saying 2 weeks to replace that ECU. I'm switching with the driver and going home. He will run mine until it's fixed. Yeah, that's a very wise idea, I think, in my opinion. No Hippie says, "What's up, Tom? I need to catch up with you." Brian Walton says, "Hey, bud, sorry I'm late. It's okay. I was late too. I normally start at 5. Tonight I started at 7. I appreciate everybody's patience. I can promise you that." Brian says, "On my home time, doing my 34 after being out for a month." That's what I've been trying to stay out about 4 or 5 weeks at a time. Um, I'm at the house now. Technically, I hadn't made it home yet. I will after this video. And, but I'm going to try to leave out tomorrow unless something weird happens at the doctor. I'll try to leave out tomorrow. Obviously, if I go there and the phlebotomist ain't working or whatever, they seem to have a hard time keeping phlebotomist. But then I might have to stay another day or they might send me to another location. But the goal is to go right back out, and then I'll be here September 1st for that actual doctor's appointment. And I say September 1st. You know how it goes when you're booking your own loads. I might be here a day or two before that. You just have to kind of get here when you get here. I've paid over delivery before. Yeah, yeah. A lot of guys back in the old days, for $20, the forklift driver would go ahead and unload you after hours or earlier than your appointment. So I know that used to be a thing. Also, lumpers. You used to could. A lot of guys don't believe this. You used to could haggle with lumpers. They'd say 150, and you say, "No, I'm going to do it myself." And they say, well, what would you pay? And you say 120, and you could usually haggle with them. Now it's all computerized, and they say it's 150, and you can't unload it. So you're at their mercy. And the ones I like, now I wish we could do this in trucking. The ones I like, I just had one the other day. They said, we're going to unload you, and we'll tell you when we finish how much we're going to charge you. Don't you wish we could do that in trucking? All right, Mr. Shipper, I'm going to pull this load for you. And after I deliver it, I'll tell you what it's going to cost you. Only in trucking could lumpers do that to us, but we can't do it to anybody. Well, I pulled that load and heck, it's $5 a mile. I hit some rain. Or heck, I pulled that load, it's $3 a mile. I didn't have any problems. But no, it's not that way in trucking. In trucking, they tell us, we're going to give you $1.50 a mile. Take it or leave it. And drivers go, oh, wait, I'll underbid that. I'll do it for $1.20. It's trucking's backwards. And I did a video probably 2 years ago called That's Just the Way It Is. And it's amazing the stuff that we put up with in trucking because we're told from the beginning, well, that's the way we've always done it. That's just the way it is. And even now, when you call brokers and you try to haggle with them, they'll tell you some enormously, ridiculously low rate. And they'll go, well, that's what guys been hauling it for. And that's because there's an idiot born every day. No Fear says, good night. Good night, No Fear. Well, maybe not. He's commenting below. I'm having company get me home every 2 weeks for a 34. That's a good deal if you can work it out that way. Oh, good. Hey, Charlie's here tonight. He is an excellent resource too because he's got an older truck at his house that he doesn't use anymore. He went ahead and leased a new one from Swift, but he worked on it a lot and did a lot of stuff himself. And he says Napa is a pretty good source for commercial parts, and O'Reilly's counter usually has in the back of the store. Just speak to commercial folks. That is true as well. Napa does have a lot of stuff, and O'Reilly's does too sometimes. We actually have an O'Reilly's distribution center here in Lubbock, and I always forget to check with them. Lyle, I'll be home Thursday through Sunday, rolling on Monday. Yeah, lumpers are crazy. Yeah, it's nuts. And if I was a lumper, I'd be mad. Here you are, uh, you're unloading a trailer. The lumper service is getting enormous amounts of money, sometimes $400 or $500, usually $150, $200. And what are they paying that lumper? $12, $15 an hour, and he can unload 2 trailers an hour if he wants to. They horse around and they have checkers that take forever to check that stuff in. That's the number one reason I don't pull a reefer. And I get it. There's more money in reefers, and I've got more experience pulling a reefer than I do any other kind of trailer. But I just don't want to deal with the grocery warehouse. Oh man, this is some sad news. I have decided to leave law enforcement and went to full-time farming. I have a daughter due in October. I have to do what's best for my family. I will miss law enforcement. Yeah, I was going to contact you and see if if your department did a ride along, and maybe I could do a ride along with you guys one night. But I get doing what's best for your family. I think that's awesome, man. We're still going to have to hang out sometime when I pass through there. And I do pass through there a lot when I leave the house. So if I find myself in that part of Kansas, I'll holler at you and see if we can get together, buy you a hamburger or something. Oh, you're welcome, my friend. So I'm getting into the world of TikTok. There is a Trucker Todd TikTok for those that are interested. Admittedly, I don't know a lot about it. Admittedly, there's not a lot of videos on there. But as I learn, as I develop it's a different format than what I'm used to putting content on. I will be putting a lot more there in the future. And if it suggests one of you guys' videos, I'll watch it. What I don't know, maybe Brian could tell me. How did you know I watched your video? I love pulling reefer. I don't mind it. I just hate grocery warehouses. I'll tell you what's cool about a reefer is if you ever have a time where your truck battery goes dead, and it happens a lot on home time and stuff, you can fire up the reefer and boost yourself off. Or you used to could. I guess you can on the new reefers. I found I slept well with the reefer running because the noise and the kind of the hum of the engine and the vibration would help me sleep. And also, when I pulled reefer, uh, a lot of times you got a lot of free food. If a box was slightly damaged or something like that, the warehouse would say we don't want it. They'd reject it. If it wasn't worth a lot, sometimes the broker or whatever would say, I just dispose of it. And you'd have one time I got like 8 cases of meat. And so I would give it away to family and stuff like that. And uh, so I enjoyed pulling a reefer. I hated pulling lettuce loads though, because they pack them in ice. And then time you get where you're going, the boxes are all soggy and trying to fall over. Grocery warehouses made me crazy in my FFE days. I learned something about Charlie today. I never ever knew that he worked at FFE. Uh, so that's I I don't know why, but I just assumed because he's been at Swift for like I think 15, 16 years or something forever, and so I just assumed that's where he started and never left. But that's cool that he had the reefer experience and it didn't work for him either. Like I say, if we could eliminate if we could eliminate uh, lumpers and wait times at grocery warehouses, I might consider it again. Um, Definitely, the owner of the company I'm working for, and I'm getting ready to say where that's at probably in the coming weeks, next 2 or 3 weeks. Uh, he's not opposed to getting reefers if we want to go that route, or I don't think he is. I may get myself in trouble for saying that. I believe he said he would consider getting a reefer or letting us get our own reefer. I know he let one guy get a flatbed recently, but they did that at their own expense. And I've got access. I could get my own reefer if I ever wanted to go that way. It told me because we are friends on TikTok, all you have to do is look under friends. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Um, my good friend Chris that lives in Little Rock that I went and hang out with, and we went and saw the Clinton Presidential Library and went to the MacArthur Museum, stuff like that. I met his family, helped him move some furniture and stuff. He he's got a daughter that's really good with TikTok, and she showed me a few things, but I really need to sit down with her next time I'm in Little Rock and let her show me some more because TikTok's a whole different beast. I plug my truck in when I'm on home time, keeps the batteries good. Yeah, that's the way to do it if you can. I was telling somebody the other day I had an international when I worked at Roadrunner for about a month before the engine blew, and it had that electrical plug. It said shore power, but the plug was like two prongs that looked like an electrical socket, and then a third one that was sideways. And I went to International. I went everywhere trying to find a plug that would fit it, and I couldn't find anybody that had a cord that would fit it. And I probably should have just got that plug changed to a traditional one because I saw a truck the other day, and it just you plugged a regular extension cord into it. This truck having an APU, I just put it on standby, and it'll crank if the batteries get low and charge the batteries and then shut off again. When it's super hot, I go ahead and let it run on AC, and I'll turn the AC temperature up a little bit so it's not like super cool in here, but it's decent temperature to keep all my stuff that's in the truck from going bad. Ah, so you started at FFE. in 2004. Man, on your channel sometime soon, I hope you'll tell that story. I'm kind of curious about your beginnings. Do you have videos out about how you get what made you pick reefer, what made you pick FFE, why you left? Uh, did you have a trainer? What was your trainer like? Things like that. That might be a pretty good video for you to do. And on the flip side of that, Jeff should do one too about where he started and why he selected that company and if he had a truck driving school and what his trainer was like. Those might be some good videos for y'all to put out. Yeah, here's a good point, and I'm glad Brian brought this up. Right now, I believe it's still going on through like Thursday. I don't remember the exact dates. I didn't bring them in here tonight. They are doing a DOT brake check week. I got level 3 DOT the other day. I got a clean inspection. A good friend of mine got a level 1. He got a clean inspection. They don't seem to be super aggressive right now, but take a few minutes, do a walk around, climb up under your truck, make sure that your brake shoes on your trailer especially aren't cracked, that you got plenty of pad there. If you know how to adjust your brakes, adjust them up. TA usually and sometimes Loves will do a free mid-trip inspection. If you're near one of those, run by there and see if they can do a quick one. It's good to have a second set of eyes, look your truck over. Charlie from Contractor's Corner that I was just talking with would tell you to run your hands, your bare hands over your tires, feel for any anomalies in the tires, things like that. Check your tire pressures, all of that. I mean, there's always a chance when they pull you in, they're going to find something you miss, but don't make it easy for them. Don't go pulling in there. I had a turn signal I had to replace this week. Don't go pulling in there with headlights out and flat tires and not thinking you're not going to get inspected. And if you've got an audible air leak, get it fixed. Goodness gracious, don't invite them to give you tickets. And now a lot of them have these sensors that when you roll across their scale, they can tell if you have a flat tire. Some of them have these infrared deals that read the temperature of your axles, and they can tell, if you've got a flat tire or something wrong with an axle based on the temperature. So just don't make it easy on them. Try to check these trucks as best as you can. And I'll be the first to admit, when it's 110 outside, I'm probably not doing as good of a pre-trip as when it's 70 outside, but I'm still looking my stuff over and I'm still checking all my fluids, and I still carry extra antifreeze and oil and stuff. So that if I've got to add some, I can. I'm not going to get stuck on the side of the road somewhere because I need a gallon of antifreeze. And hopefully you're not doing that either. Just take 10 or 15 minutes and look your truck over in the morning and when you park. People always say, well, why do I got to do a post trip? I'm going to bed. Well, I've shared this story about when I was at Swift. I had a blowout that I didn't know I had. And I parked and I got out and did my post trip, saw it. And so I called it in to breakdown. I said, hey, I'm about to go to bed, but I've got a blowout. I'm at this, it was on a toll oasis. And they said, all right, we'll take care of it. They had the guy come out. I never even saw the guy. I went to bed. They had it arranged with him where I didn't have to sign nothing. And he came out and fixed my tire while I was asleep. So I wake up the next morning, then I'm ready to roll. Had I not done that post trip and I'd have just went straight to bed, the next morning when I woke up, I'd have went, oh crap, I've got a blowout. And I would have sat there, because it's morning, I'd have sat there probably 6 or 8 hours waiting for somebody to come fix that tire. So, I mean, you don't have to get your creeper out on your post trip and roll under it, but just do a quick walk around. Check all your lights, check all your tires. Make sure you got all your mud flaps. Listen for audible air leaks, things like that. It might end up, 5 or 10 minutes might end up saving you several hours the next morning. Now, I do agree with this. Grocery warehouses aren't too bad, just depending on where you go. That is true. And I'll tell you another problem with reefers And this really depends on the company you're with. The dead drop time for meat loads at these meat packing plants, there's some companies that will dispatch you on those loads as soon as they get them, and you'll sit there 2 or 3 days waiting on a load of beef. There's other companies that'll dispatch you right before the dead drop time, and you usually don't wait long. You're in and out. I used to work for a company in Amarillo. I don't think they're around anymore, not at least not in the way they were. Baldwin Distribution, and they would dispatch you close to the dead drop time. Oftentimes, when you got there to pick up your meat load, it was ready. It was a drop and hook. You were in and out. Rarely did I have to wait for a load, and I never sat there for 2 or 3 days like a lot of guys do. I had to jump my Freightliner today after letting it sit since the 12th with the fridge running. Still didn't expect to be off as long as just uh, under being able to start. Yeah, I was under the impression because I thought my Freightliner at Swift had it, that it had that step down that it would start cutting stuff off as the battery got low. Um, Shooting, if you'd have known you was going to be off that long, you could have killed the battery, did the battery shut off switch and just took everything out of your refrigerator. That's usually what I did with my Freightliner at Swift when I went home. I would just do the battery kill switch, and then I'd empty the refrigerator in a like a plastic Walmart sack and then fill it back up when I got back in the truck. The sideways prong is 30 amp 110. So it's like it'd be like a 30 amp camper, basically. I went to Camping World, and Camping World didn't have one either. It uh, it sounds bad when I tell this story because I went to all kinds of places uh, looking for that plug because I wanted to plug it in when I was at home. And with Roadrunner, I was home about once a week. They ran the dog out of me though, and which it's not a complaint. I made good money there, but I had a fast truck. My truck ran 87, and they had a triangle set up for me, and I did very well on that triangle. Actually, I had two triangles set up. We would To break the monotony, they would send me on that other triangle sometimes to just kind of let me see different scenery. All in all, I experienced a lot of frustration at Roadrunner, but they treated me pretty well. And I'm still in contact with two people within the company. They've had a lot of change in management and office staff, so I'm not as in touch with as many of them as I was before. But there's still two people within the company of Roadrunner that I still talk to at least a couple times a month. I remember hauling reefer as a rookie for Covenant. I had never told you all this story. So the very, very, very first reefer load I ever pulled was with Prime Inc. And I went through orientation, and they didn't show us nothing about how to run a reefer. So the way I got taught on a reefer is I pulled up at at my very first cold storage place, and you've got all these directions: pre-cool to this temperature, put it on continuous, put it on auto start stop, whatever. And I pulled up and I didn't have a clue. And so I walked up to another reefer driver, and maybe this is why I'm so eager to help people now. And I said, man, I've been driving a little over 4 years now, almost 5 years. It's always been in a dry van. I've never pulled a reefer. Can you teach me how to run it? And luckily, he didn't tell me to go screw myself. He said, sure. He hopped out. He gave me about a 5-minute class on how to run a reefer. And after that, it was easy. I never had a problem. But I thought, man, you would think that Prime would have took a few minutes and said, hey, we're going to walk you out here in the drop lot and show you how to turn a reefer on, how to set it, what to look for, shoot, how to check the oil. That would have been nice to know. But they didn't show me nothing, and I guess I just fell through the cracks somehow. Okay, Rose got us some clarification here. It's the 20th through the 26th, so we still got 4 days to go. So there you go. I said last week I was going to have that stuff in front of me, and I literally got caught unprepared because up until right before showtime, I thought we were going to have the insurance guy on tonight. But, like I say, he's moving and everything. So the soonest I can get him back on is in 2 weeks. And if he gets me all the information he needs to get me and I can vet him, then we'll have him on in 2 weeks. And if he can't, then we won't. We'll see what happens. But next week's going to be a really good one with a guy that is a company driver and he's really happy where he's at. And he's a good, honest guy. I know him. I know his wife. I know their son. And so I feel real comfortable bringing him on and hearing what he has to say. And I haven't asked him a lot of questions on the phone. So I do that on purpose so that when he answers my questions, I'll be just as surprised as you guys are, and I'll be learning right beside you. And hopefully, I'll have the same curiosities you do. If not, hopefully, you'll ask questions, and we'll get a lot of good information out of him. Jeff absolutely started at Swift with the goal of becoming a contractor from day one. I've shared my story in the past on the Facebooks and the videos in the past, but just in passing. Okay. Yeah, I think that's really interesting. I thought I knew quite a bit about you, but I had no idea you'd ever worked at FFE. And I'm curious now if we got any FFE drivers in here. Them and KLLM are together now, and I'm just wondering how the two companies changed when they got together. Kind of like Knight and Swift getting together. I thought that was going to be a train wreck, but I really think Knight made a lot of positive changes within Swift. And to this day, I still think Swift's a good company. A lot of people expect me to bash Swift, and I still like them. Are they perfect? No. Is any company perfect? No. But to be as big as they are, they're pretty darn good. Not only will you get a ticket, you will also get CSA points. Yeah, yep. And the CSA points, I mean, that's your livelihood right there. How easy it is to get a job depends a lot on those points, unless you want to go to a really small company or you want to go to a flea bag company, what they call second chance companies that deal with people with really bad driving records or with really bad criminal records, things like that. But yep, you've got to go. And I was talking about this with that forklift driver while he was unloading me today. I worked for some outlaw companies where you had the 2 or 3 logbooks, where you had the 100-mile-an-hour truck. And one company that I've mentioned in videos, I'm not going to say who it is right now. One company I worked for, you just mailed them your speeding tickets and they'd pay them for you. Sometimes they'd fight your tickets to try to keep them off your record. Sometimes they'd just pay them. They didn't care. They wanted you to go. And I mean, they'd want you to drive 18 or 20 hours a day. Not saying it's a good idea. Not saying it's safe. I'm probably lucky to be alive, but we did. There was a time trucking was a lot different than it is right now. Glad I missed the checkpoint in Garden City, Kansas. I was hauling seed, wheat, and I was heavy. Luckily, we have farm tags, so they are not supposed to mess with the farmers. Adam, if I was you, I'd be tempted uh, to do a little name dropping if I did get pulled over. I'd be like, you might not know who I am. I'm formerly known as Officer Adam. I used to work for this county sheriff's department, and I recently surrendered my badge to go back to farming and take care of my family. And I bet they'd go easy on you. I hear that. I don't know how much you can say, but I hear that there's a kind of a professional courtesy there that you guys usually won't write each other tickets. Now, I've seen some videos on YouTube where officers will write other officers tickets, but it's pretty rare from what I understand. TA and Petro often do free mid trips prior to the DOT blitzes. Yeah, they do. I think I mentioned that a minute ago. Hey, look who's here. Scorpion Trucker. Hadn't seen him in a few weeks. Hey, Trucker Todd, glad to see you. Hello to everyone from in here. I've been checking your videos out, but I haven't been able to comment while driving. Very busy currently in Missouri. Is your wife still riding around with you, or are you out there flying solo again? My wife was planning to come on the truck with me. She wasn't really liking her new job. She started working to kind of help out a little bit, and all of a sudden things clicked, and now she likes it. Things are going good up there. So for the time being, she's not coming on the truck, but I'm glad that she's happy and liking her work, and I do appreciate the extra paychecks coming in as well. I'm always baffled by the guys you see rolling out of the truck stops in the morning, missing a mud flap, two brake lights, so no post trip or pre trip. Makes me shake my head. Yeah, like I think uh, I think we would all agree that you could take a brand new truck, and if you DOT'd it hard enough, you could find something wrong, and your company knows the difference between something that you casually missed and something you missed because you're not doing a pre-trip. Now, a lot of trucks, I know Volvos do it. Um, I think Freightliners do it now. We'll tell you if you have a headlight out or something. I carry two extra headlights in here. Uh, like I said, I carry extra turn signals. While I was getting fuel the other day, I changed out a turn signal in the fuel island, and I used to carry two mud flaps under my mattress on my bed, and if I had a mud flap go out, I'd change it out real quick. Um, I do that typically when I'm at big companies like Swift because they'll pass out the mud flaps like candy because it saves them money if you change it instead of having to have a shop do it. Now that I'm at a smaller company, I don't have spare mud flaps. I guess I could buy a couple and keep them in here. Ideally, what I do is I keep one for the truck and one for the trailer. And like I say, you stick them under the mattress and they don't affect the comfort of your bed or nothing. They're out of the way. And then they're clean if you got to change one out. But yeah, if you've got something obvious that you should know about, missing license plates. And I've worked for some companies that say, "Oh, just make one out of cardboard." And I've seen some YouTube videos, and I've had some officers tell me when I asked them about it that cardboard's not a replacement for the metal one. It might make you feel good, but they'll still pull you over for having a tag that's not an official one. I love going to grocery warehouses. When you are delivering a forklift, it's in and out. Yeah, I bet it is. I'm hitting the showers. I'll check back when I get back. I have a checking in video releasing tomorrow that will explain what's going on. All right, man. I look forward to it. I'll check it out tomorrow. Do you think 12 cents per mile is okay for maintenance? It depends on the truck. If you had that old Volvo I had, 2008 Volvo, then no, 12 cents is probably not enough. If you have a brand new truck, 23, 24, 12 cents probably is enough for now. What I would tell you about maintenance is there's never enough. Like that Volvo I was talking about a minute ago that lasted a month and the Cummins engine went out on it. It was going to be, I think it was $43,000 to replace the engine, if I remember correct. I'd have to go back and watch my own video. So a guy that has 25 or 30,000 in the bank might think, "Oh yeah, I got plenty if I had a breakdown." But shops can vary on prices, parts can vary. If you'll tell me what kind of truck you have, I can tell you a little closer. Um, but yeah, you want to base it on the age and condition of the truck you're in. I know at Swift, I mean, not at Swift, at Dart, a lot of guys were putting 8 or 9 cents a mile on their maintenance account, which I always felt was a little light. I usually did 12 to 15 cents, but they knew if they got in a bind that Dart would hold their hand and help them get through the repair. To me, I think that's a safety net, and that shouldn't be a business strategy. So I wouldn't purposefully set a maintenance account at 8 cents, saying, "Well, if I get in a bind, the company will bail me out." I would set it a little more on the aggressive side, a larger amount, and then if I need it, I got it, and if I don't need it, then it's accumulating for me. Hey, DIY is here. This is a perfect guy to answer this question. A DIY, what do you think? Do you think 12 cents a mile is a reasonable amount for a maintenance account, and or do you think like I do? It depends on the truck and the age of the truck. Good evening, late but here. Hope all is well. No problem, my friend. I was late too. I got here at 7 tonight. Thank you for being here. Here where I work, they deal with CDL legal, which is supposed to help trucks when you get a ticket. Yeah, I had a prepaid legal service like that I was using, and on one ticket they got it completely dismissed, and I was as guilty as I could be on that ticket. And then another ticket, I was as innocent as I could be, and they didn't even try on it. They just pled me guilty. Only costs me $36 a month, and you got an attorney in your pocket. Yeah, now a lot of those will also have a deductible, so it'll be $36 a month, and then $100 or $200 each time you have to use them. If you've got one that's $36 a month with no deductible, then I'd say you got a pretty good plan. Got to go take some meds and relax. Y'all have a great night and be safe, everyone. Don't forget to look after your health, y'all. There's only one you, and someone will miss you. Yeah, Charlie, I heard you had some issues lately. I hope things are going well for you. Have a great night, and I hope you feel better soon. When I was at Western Express, my second load out, I had to replace my trailer service line in the truck stop. Later on, my drive tire blew, and like everyone else, I got it replaced while on my 10. Yeah, there you go. Now, Craig's talking, and this is a great point right here. So, Craig says he does 20 cents a mile for maintenance. Is that overkill? Probably. But at 20 cents a mile, whenever something goes wrong with Craig's truck, he's probably going to have the money to fix it. Now, again, I still think it depends on what truck he's in, your model, things like that, condition of the truck. But at 20 cents a mile, I think that's a pretty safe place to be. And as the truck gets older, as the truck gets more miles, he can always increase it from there if he needs to. So Tim says his truck is a 2017 Freightliner. Honestly, with a 2017, you're talking about a truck that's almost 7 years old, probably going to have somewhere around 700,000 miles on it. I would probably be looking to have it around 20 or 25 cents a mile. I know some guys are going to come on here. They're going to say, I'm crazy. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I just like to err on the side of caution. It's a real uncomfortable feeling when you've got to go to a company and beg for help with a repair. And if you can afford to do the 20 cents a mile, hey, I know it's tough in this economy. I think you're going to be better off in the long run. Scorpion says he's flying solo again. Oh, that's cool, my friend. I know she enjoyed being on the truck with you, and I really enjoyed those videos. You two do well on camera together. Okay, I like this answer. I do. The correct amount is as much as you possibly can. I was telling guys that when they were going into lease purchase. I would tell them you need to save some money before you join one. And they'd say, how much? And I'd always say as much as you can. And I'd say, a guy with 10,000 is a guy better off than a guy with five. A guy with 50,000 is better off than those guys. The more you can save, because you just don't know what's going to happen. A brand new truck can break right out of the gate, and sometimes they can't get parts, and you can be down 2 or 3 months. Now, oftentimes, a lease purchase company, they'll trade you out of it into another one. But my point is, the more money you got, the more trauma and stress your business can take. Uh, I've had guys that came to Dart with me that they couldn't even afford to eat during orientation. The recruiter had to give them vouchers to get food so they could eat. What do you think their odds of success are when they get out in their truck? If they can't afford to go to Taco Bell and get a $6 or $7 meal, what are the odds they're going to be uh, able to handle any kind of issues? What if they wake up and have a flat tire? And you say, well, they got a maintenance account. Well, not if they hadn't delivered a load yet. They don't. What if they need to buy a gallon of oil? And you say, well, Todd, they can put it on their fuel card. Maybe they can, but I just, you need to have some money, even if it's a few $100s, but you really need to have a few thousand just because you don't know what's going to happen. Your company might send you somewhere and there's no loads and you're there for a couple of days. Have some money. You may need to get some supplies. You may get there and they may hand you a list and say, these are the things we require our drivers to have on their truck. We require them to have a hard hat, a high visibility vest, things like that. And you don't want to have to take an advance from the company and start out in the hole getting the stuff that you need to operate your business. And I realize stuff happens, but just try to prepare as best as you can. What's up, Todd? Not much, man. It's been a crazy day. I'm glad to be here now. How are you doing? Wow. So, Tim, that's actually pretty good. That'd be a 2017 with about half as many miles on it as it should have. I might adjust that number a little bit. It's still going to be an older truck, so I mean, you're still going to have components that'll wear out, even if the truck's sat a lot. And of course, I'm talking about belts, hoses, airbags, things like that. I might adjust that number a little bit. Possibly, let's see, I'd probably put it somewhere around 15 cents, 12 at the bare minimum, but I'd probably feel a lot more comfortable at 15 cents. And I mean, you'll know pretty quick if the truck seems solid, you might be okay at 12, but I like to err on the side of caution as much as I can on these things. But it sounds like you got a great truck if you got a 17 with that low of mileage. I love my Peterbilt truck after driving a Freightliner and an International. Yeah, I do too. I love Peterbilts. They're my favorite. This Kenworth is a close second. If I could put the top bunk as a Peterbilt bunk, it'd be a tie. But just as this truck is, it's a close second. That Peterbilt I had at Dart was pretty sweet, but it wasn't nowhere near as fancy as this truck. Yeah, it's because they seem like they're built well and they're a long wheelbase truck. Well, you're adding more information now. So you have 25,000 in a maintenance account now, but you put 12 cents a mile in. Then you're fine. You're fine. I think you're okay at that point. Uh, I would stay at the 12 cents then because I didn't realize you already had 25,000 saved up. You could handle a moderate repair and you're still growing it at the 12 cents. Do you earn any kind of interest on that maintenance account? Because you could factor that in as well. But it sounds like you're in pretty good shape. And based on those numbers, I would say your odds of success are pretty good. Because at 12 cents a mile, 3,000 miles a week, that's what $360 a week going to maintenance. So you're doing almost 1,200 a month because there's 4.33 weeks in a month. So yeah, I think you're okay. I do. I agree with you, Todd. Contribute 5% to a reserve account, and it's still not enough. Yeah, You can never have too much money. I mean, I had a guy that was in a 2023 International driving through California. His truck burnt to the ground. Uh, and they still didn't total it. The insurance company didn't total it. And it was like 90 something $1,000 worth of repairs. I couldn't believe they didn't total it. And so, how much money does that guy need? Well, technically, he just needs his deductible. But he was down for several months. He had to rent a truck, and the truck he rented was a turd. And they covered the maintenance on the turd, but when it's in the shop, he's got to go to a hotel. And so here he is in a brand new truck thinking he doesn't need a lot for maintenance. And then that happens. And it shook him up pretty bad. He had a little dog in the truck, and it was all he could do to get the dog out in time. And he had like $3,500 worth of jewelry in the sleeper because he wore a lot of gold necklaces and stuff, and it melted a lot of that. So it was a pretty bad situation. 20 cents is 20K. If you do 100,000 a year, a one box can cost 15. Yeah, that's true, but oftentimes those will be covered under warranty, from what I understand, at least for a while. And you hear all kinds of numbers on one boxes. I managed to get a reserved parking spot at the TA truck stop. Ah, you were thinking ahead. Good for you. Ah, see, you should have led with that information, Tim. I would say if you've got access to $55,000, you're pretty safe. Even if you had to buy an engine out of warranty, you've got enough to do it. So the rules and the general things we're talking about here wouldn't apply to you. I'm talking to the guy that barely starting his first lease purchase about how much money he should put in maintenance and how much money he should save. But at 55,000, I mean, heck, if your truck was a total loss, you could buy a used truck for 50,000 that's in pretty decent condition, I would think. Gary, I don't like paying for a spot. I would rather sleep on a ramp. Well, there's a lot of areas that are cracking down on sleeping on the ramps, and it's not the safest place to park. So I get it. If you, I don't like paying for parking either. I wrestle with myself on it because the free market guy in me says, well, they're a business, and people have a choice if they want to stay there or don't stay there, and or do business with that place. And then part of me says, yeah, but parking is mandated, and they should cut us a break. And so I kind of see both sides of it. I'm not saying I hadn't never parked on a ramp, because you go out in Wyoming, Montana, some of those places, sometimes you got to. But I try not to. I can say that comfortably. I've been listening to you, DIY and Cash is King, for at least 3 years. I've learned a lot from you guys. I would like to say thanks to you for all the good info over the years. Well, thank you, Tim. I also watch DIY and Cash is King as often as I can. I've wanted to do something collaborative with them because I think we share a lot of the same audience, and I just hadn't been able to get that put together. But yeah, they put out a lot of good stuff, and I would like to know where Cash gets his news stories from. He because I would like to do similar news stories. I just don't find them as quick as he does, and he'll put out 3 or 4 videos a day, and I don't know how he does that in drives either. And then DIY, I would like to have his mechanical knowledge. That guy, he knows the ins and outs of a truck. And so I think I could learn a little bit from each of them, and that's why I listen to them every chance I get. I don't get to see every video. You guys know I stay pretty busy, but I watch as much as I can. All right, I'm going to take the comments down for a second while y'all are typing. That'll give y'all a chance to check out the website, truckertodd.net. You can also email me at todd@truckertodd.net. And please think about subscribing. Think about giving me a thumbs up. Think about sharing this video on your social media platforms and telling your friends about the channel. It would it would really help me a lot, and I'd appreciate it. It kind of lets YouTube know that you like what we're doing, and so then they put it in the suggestions, and more people see the videos. Yeah, DIY puts out some good stuff, and I'd never heard of him until I started watching Cash, but he's a smart man with a lot of maintenance knowledge. And it's probably a good thing I don't have his phone number because I'd be calling him all the time. Hey, DIY, how do you do this? Hey, DIY, how do you do that? Hey, DIY, what do you think about this? So it's probably a good thing I don't have his phone number. But yeah, I like his maintenance videos, and he does it in a down to earth way where just a normal person can understand it. He doesn't get all technical on you. And Cash kind of mixes a variety of funny and you learn something. And I like when he does the things where I guess he gets on truck paper and he'll find interesting trucks and show them. I like watching those as well. They're usually shorts and they're a minute or two long, but they're fun to watch as well. I donate most of his news stories. I'm behind the scenes secret weapon. Yeah, I kind of thought that he probably had a wife or a girlfriend or something that was, looking for news stories all day. And I thought, well, I'll just ask my viewers. Viewers, will y'all send me some news stories if you see some good ones? And I'll get one or two here and there, but not very many. And he gets like 5 or 6 a day. Of course, his channel's a lot bigger than mine. I'm creeping up on 6,000 subscribers. And I think right now he's somewhere near a lot. I don't know, 30 or 40,000. He has good business attitude as well. Yeah, yeah. The thing I like about Cash, and I didn't mean to turn this into the Cash and DIY show, but sometimes the show will go in a weird direction. The thing I like about him is he doesn't blow smoke at you. If he has a bad week, he'll come on here and say, I had a bad week. If he had a good week, he'll come on and say he had a good week. He's not going, oh, the market's great right now. He's admitted it's tough out here and talked about cost saving things he's doing to save money. And so I guess the short answer is I find him really, really credible. And on YouTube, especially if you get to know some YouTubers behind the scene, you'll see that that's pretty rare. Most of them are just real egotistical and self centered and don't care about anybody but themselves. And I wouldn't describe Cash as that way. He seems like he really wants to help and he really wants to share knowledge and I haven't heard him say anything that I went, oh, he's full of crap. Everything I've heard him say seemed like logical, especially when he's going over his numbers. It seems reasonable what he's saying. So good on him. He's finding good loads in and out of Minnesota, which that's better than I can do. Every time I go to Minnesota, I go for nearly nothing and I come out for nearly nothing. So, of course, he's doing reefer and I'm doing dry van, and that may be the difference. But yeah, he's definitely one of the better YouTubers. And same thing with DIY. I like when they do shows together. They're pretty funny. Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Brian. If you're at a good company, throw it out there. And if you email me and tell me a little bit about it off the air, we may bring you on like what we're doing with the guy next Tuesday and let you talk about it. I'm not married to or tied to any company right now for that kind of stuff. So if you're working for a good company and you want to tell people about it, we can sure arrange that. And you never know, you might be able to help somebody that's at a bad company right now and needing to find something new. Tim says he's got to go. You have a great night. Thank you. You have a great night too. Thanks for coming in and for all the good comments tonight. Right now, we're creeping up on an hour and a half. We'll keep going as long as y'all want to. We got about 42 in here right now. But I know some of you folks are going to bed soon. And as y'all start nodding off and going to sleep, then I'll call the wife and tell her to come get me and I'll go home. I'll go eat something. I hadn't ate nothing really. I just ate some nasty convenience store stuff right before I came on the air. But I want to go eat something good while I'm in town. Anything else y'all want to talk about before we wrap it up? Oh, thank you, DIY. I appreciate that. I've always wanted to ask DIY while I got him here. How did you get your mechanical knowledge? Did you have somebody in your family that ran a truck shop? Or did you used to be a tech? Because you've got a lot of knowledge. I would call it way above average for the average truck driver. And I'm just curious how you taught yourself. Next time you're in the area, let me know. I have parking, food, and showers, Middle Georgia. Ah, sure thing. One thing I try to do, and I'm surprised it hadn't got me in trouble yet. I try to say where I'm at and where I'm going, and so hopefully, if guys are in the area, we can meet up. I've met several of y'all out on the road. Somebody saw me at the TA in Denver the other day, and he didn't come up and say hi. I didn't realize it was him, but yeah, I'm out here pretty public, and I'm surprised somebody hadn't seen me and figured out what company I'm working at. Getting ready to release that in a couple of weeks, but yeah, that's great. I've been told so many cities that people live in, though, that I honestly kind of runs together in my brain. I need to write all this stuff down, but I'll try to keep that in mind. And if you keep watching the videos, if you're subscribed, you know you get a notification when they come out. And if you see that I'm going to be passing through your area, shoot me an email, or if you've got my number, give me a call. And if I've got time, I'll stop and meet people when I can. I feel I'm having an aha moment. I knew this. Brian works for Rosedale Trucking. That's the company you asked me about before you went to work there. And Brian is really, really happy there. Brian, email me or text me. I think you've got my number. And maybe in about a month, we can get you on to talk about them. Or if you've got somebody within the company that wants to come on the show, maybe a recruiter or something, I can bring them on and ask them a bunch of questions, and we can get people that information. Just have them email me at todd@truckertodd.net. Going to look at the back of my eyelids for a bit. 4 a.m. comes early. All right, Daryl, have a great night. Thank you for coming in as long as you could. If you get a chance, check out the replay later. That's what most of y'all do. Usually we'll have anywhere from 25 to 60 people during the live. And then in the first 24 hours, we usually get 500 or 600 views. So overwhelming majority of y'all are watching during the replays, which I think is really cool. And I appreciate y'all taking the time to do that. Many of you are listening while you're driving. I'm okay with that. Most of my videos aren't visual, where it's stuff you got to see. So you can just put your phone down and listen. And if we do something visual, you can always go back and see that part in the replay. Before, when I had the accountant on here, he put some charts up one time, and if we had an incident like that, then you could always go back and check those charts out later. Ronnie Smith says, "What's up? Not much, my friend. How are you doing tonight?" Hey, F8 Trucking is here. Man, we got the whole gang here tonight. Thank you for coming in, F8. He says, boom. That's the old John Madden thing. Like, I wish I could do the John Madden voice like, what's his name? The comedian. Anyway, it's not coming to me. But John Madden, the master of the obvious. And Pat Summerall, thanks, John. Oh, I miss John Madden. But he would always say, boom. Hard to do a John Madden accent or impersonation with your Texas accent. Well, I hate to leave when we got all these big names in here, so hopefully y'all can keep it going. We're at 125 right now. This is another great question. Any preference on spring ride or airbag trailers? Spring ride. has less maintenance. Yeah, but there's some downsides to spring ride. Some of these loads, it'll say must have an air ride trailer. So you limit some of the loads you can haul because of having a spring ride trailer. Uh, so I would say airbags ride better, and it'll give you access to more loads. Yes, the comedian's name was Frank Caliendo. He is freaking hilarious, and I think he could do an impersonation of just about anybody. But my favorite one he does is of John Madden, though, and he does a pretty good George Bush as well. Yep, I agree with Craig. Airbag trailers ride better. You'll qualify for more loads with them, and so that's they'll also scare the crap out of you if you're walking by one when an airbag pops, or if you're driving down the road and you hear it pop. But that's not very frequently, though. All right, give you guys a few more minutes to pop up some comments. Spring ride more forgiving in curves. Yeah, I remember the very first truck I ever drove was an 85 Peterbilt at truck driving school, and it was a cab over with spring ride. And it was fairly rough riding. I didn't realize how rough it was until I got to Swift, and they had a conventional tractor with airbags, and I thought I was in a Cadillac. I had no idea a truck could be that comfortable or that luxurious. And by today's standards, and even by the standards back then, it was a mid-level truck at best. But man, I don't know. When we'd go, of course, in truck driving school, we were driving it on an old racetrack in the beginning before they put you on roads, and it was a dirt track. And so the spring ride is definitely better for off road, in my opinion. But man, on a long trip, you get to where you appreciate that air ride. How do you like disc brakes on your truck compared to drums? So here's the deal about disc brakes. They take some getting used to, but once you get used to them, you won't want nothing else. They definitely stop better, but they feel weird when you're adjusting to them. I'd had them on some other trucks, so I was familiar with them. But yeah, that's what I'd say about that. I like disc brakes. It's definitely an improvement in trucking. How many loads do you see that require newer trailers? Is it less than 10 years? Yeah, the places that require it, it's usually 10 years or newer. So they'd want you to have, like a 2013, 2014. And most of the places that want it are paper loads. Occasionally you'll run into another spot that'll say it. Typically, when you're bidding for loads, it'll say uh, that that's a requirement, or that what they're looking for in the way of trailers. I'm fortunate. The worst trailer that I have with this guy I'm with now was the very first one I pulled, and I like that trailer. Some things I like about that trailer better than my one I currently have with him, which is a newer one. First one was a 2014. This one's a 2019. At the end of the month, he's getting me an even newer trailer, and but yeah, if you're doing a paper load, a lot of times they'll say they want 10 years or newer. Um, if you've got one that's kind of on the border, just show up with a clean trailer that looks good and have a good attitude. And sometimes they'll go ahead and load it. Also, sometimes it'll say trailer must be 10 years or newer. And when you get there, you find they don't even enforce it anymore. But yeah, it's not a real reoccurring thing, but sometimes you'll run into that. I don't park on ramps because if someone hits me, I'm responsible for it. Yeah, like out in Wyoming and stuff, they have some spots that are designed for trucks to park on, and it's actually like a little gravel area you pull out into. It's still not safe. It's still not great, if you're going to do it, park on the get on side where people are accelerating to get on the highway instead of the get off side where people are slowing down. You and I have all seen cars that come off those ramps way too fast, and you don't want to be right there to where there's a chance of you getting hit. At least on the get on side, they're still accelerating, and hopefully they're paying attention because they're trying to merge. But the overall best answer I would throw out there is just don't park on the ramps at all if there's any other way. And usually with some good trip planning, I know I had this debate on here with another driver at one point, but usually with some good trip planning, you're rarely going to have to park on a get on ramp. What surprises me is when I'll see people parked on a get on ramp right in front of a truck stop that has a ton of parking available. Now, that might mean something. It might mean nothing. It might mean when they got there, the truck stop's full and now some people have left. Or it might mean they were just too lazy to go over there and look. They assumed it was full and they just parked on the side. Oh, no, I hope this ain't true. Rates in 24 going to make 23 look great, in my opinion. Um, I don't know. The, every market analyst I've seen expects things to start improving in the first quarter of next year, but I don't think they can get much worse. I think you're going to see a lot of people having to get out of trucking if things don't start to come up a little. And I think, especially starting last week, we're starting to see that now, not to the degree or the speed that I would like to see, but I do think things are getting better. And I think as a business owner and as a truck driver, even if you're a company driver, I think you've got to be optimistic or you'll drive yourself crazy out here. Trip planning is a great skill to learn. Yeah, it is. And it's, you know, that's, people always say, well, why do you like trucking? And the truth is, most of the time I've been doing it, I didn't like it. The last 3 or 4 years, I've grown an appreciation for it. But the one thing I do like about trucking is you never arrive. If you get a job at a factory and you work there 20 years, they've got a ceiling and they'll say at your position, $18 an hour is the most you can make. No matter how good of a job you do, no matter how many times you work on your day off, $18 is the most we're ever going to pay you for doing that job. And so you've either got to accept the $18 or you got to take a promotion to get more money. And sometimes the promotion's less money. You work more hours and you end up making the same pay. But anyway, that's neither here or there. Trucking's different. There's always something you can improve on. And maybe it's your knowledge about maintenance. Maybe it's your fuel economy. Maybe it's your trip planning skills. Maybe it's your personal skills working with office staff or with brokers or with dispatchers. But that's what's great about trucking is there's always a challenge and there's always something you can learn. I do a lot of audio books while I'm driving. It takes me forever to listen to one now because the phone's always ringing. But there's always some way you can improve. There's always something you can learn. And that's what keeps it. People say, oh, don't you get bored out there? No, because I don't let it get boring. And I'm always looking for ways to improve. You guys give me great ideas. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. You guys have made me a better driver, making suggestions, offering constructive criticism, sometimes destructive criticism, but either way, I appreciate you guys. And trip planning is one of those things that you can always get better at. And we've got a lot of devices now that can help you with that, telling you where truck stops are. Some states have those digital signs that tell you how many parking places are available. And so you can always improve in some area of trucking. And just pick one thing a week in your life and try to improve on it. Maybe that one thing a week is how you treat your wife or how you treat your boss. Just try to improve on one thing a week. Or ones who illegally park at a truck stop, but 50 empty reserve spots are open. The business model should have a set amount of parking. It's a tax write-off. Yeah, I would like to see the truck stops, if you bought so many gallons of diesel, give you a free parking spot for the night. Or if you had an oil change or something like that. Because nothing's more frustrating than buying $600 worth of diesel and then you want to park there and there's no parking unless you pay $20 for a paid parking spot. Just like they give you free showers, they should give you free parking if you buy so many gallons of fuel. Or you should be able to use one of your shower credits for a parking spot. Yep, control the controllables in business. Cassius King is here. We've been talking about you all night, man. I didn't even know you were here. He says F8 needs to pre-trip his mustache. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. That one guy. I found your channel. You're all right, Todd. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I try. Gregory Spears. You got that right. Yeah, but that doesn't seem right though. Why would you want to use your points? You've already bought, so you bought $600 worth of diesel and say it was 150 gallons or $500 worth of diesel, whatever it was. So you got $1.50 in points and they're going to charge you 20 for a parking place. Just, I know they made $20 on that diesel. Let me park there for the night. Odds are I'm going to eat something or buy a drink out of the store or something. They're going to make other cash stream revenues off of me. Give me a parking place instead of like the one guy was talking about. People are illegally parking and there's 50 reserved spots that nobody's parked in. And I just bought $400 or $500 worth of diesel. Let me park in one of them. I can tape my fuel receipt to the window or something. I don't get it. There has to be a better way. And I know some of the executives at TA Petro. I might need to call one of them and suggest that. I've never thought of it before, but there has to be a better way. Reserve parking is not different than a museum park. We spend hundreds for tickets, food, etc., but have to pay for parking. Same for downtown cities. You pay for parking spots. Okay, here's the difference though. All of those activities you mentioned are optional forms of entertainment. We're out here doing our profession and we're being mandated by the government that we've got to park for 10 hours. So maybe we should get some provisions that the general public don't get for going to an amusement park. They're going for entertainment. They could choose to go, choose not to go. They could take an Uber, they could take a Lyft, they could take a taxi. We don't have those options. We've got an electronic thing in here, an electronic tattletale that's saying at a certain time each night, we got to park. And we're not freeloading. We're coming in, we're buying $400 to $600 worth of diesel. We're going in and buying overpriced food, overpriced drinks, in some cases getting overpriced services. And it wouldn't, and they've got unused spots there. It'd be one thing if they were filling up every night. And I'm just saying, if a guy fills up and you've got some unclaimed spots, let the guy park there for the night. I'm going to suggest it to TA. I'll email that guy tomorrow and just kind of see what he says about it. It may be something they've never thought of. I feel we should get points for purchases as well. Well, some truck stops do. Love's gives you points for purchases. If you swap your fuel card when you're paying, they do give you points. Uh, TA used to give you points when you ate in the restaurant. They don't no more. I don't know about Flying J and Pilot. It seems like they do too if you swap it when you're paying for stuff. If I'm paying $25, I'm parking at the fuel pump. Oh, that's funny. A lot of guys do that. Go inside and take their shower. And it's like watching an episode of Cops when they come out with their shower bag an hour later. There's usually drivers there yelling at them, wanting to fight them, and everything else. Okay, bud, I'm parked and back. You can stop talking bad about me now. I talked about you earlier, Tim. I said I'd talk bad about you, but I don't know anything bad about you. So we'll open the show up. If you guys have any dirt on Tim, share it with me, and we'll talk bad about Tim for the next hour. Otherwise, he's going to remain in insanehood status. He's a pretty good old guy. I did call him old, though. Reserve parking is for people who have late deliveries that may take many hours to unload and have a safe place to park. Well, and I've talked about this in other videos. Why does Love's build these truck stops with a third of the parking they need? They know when they build these truck stops, hey, we're in a great location. This place is going to be busy, and then they have 40 spots when they need 200. Now, there may be a good reason for it. Maybe the city won't let them have the permit for the size they need. But man, it's so frustrating when you go to these truck stops and there's no parking. And so what I try to do, I try to find the mom and pop truck stops because they usually seem to have more parking. Gary Cook says his favorite comedian was Rodney Dangerfield. So my favorite comedians are, um, oh gosh, John Panette, who is now deceased. He does a lot of fat jokes that are really funny about diet and exercise. I love John Panette, and also like Jeff Dunham. His his puppets are pretty funny. He's a ventriloquist, so that'd be my two favorites. Do you have a recommendation on a certain GPS that works well for you? Yeah, my good friend, one of my good friends gave me a brand new Garmin 800, which now I think they've got a newer model, an 810, and I really like it. Keep in mind that no GPS, no trucker GPS, is 100% accurate. You still need to trip plan, be familiar with your route. I also have a backup truck GPS on my phone called Smart Route Trucker 2. I bought a lifetime membership years ago, and it gets road updates and stuff. So sometimes if I can't find an address on my Garmin or something, I'll use it. And yeah, I use those two. Also, this Peterbilt has a built-in truck GPS, which is borderline terrible, but sometimes I'll turn it on for grins just to see what it says. Just don't be promoting companies till you've been there at least 3 months because you haven't been there long enough to know what they're about. Yeah, we had that happen recently with a guy that Tim and I both know. He was real gung ho about the company that he went to work at, and then he worked there just a few weeks and he was out. And so yeah, make sure that you vet a company, kind of like I'm vetting that insurance company, so that when you talk about them, that you're believable. We've got guys. I mean, I've got guys that in orientation they're saying, "Oh, this is the greatest place ever." You already come here, Todd. I'm going, at least pull a load first. Come on now. Yep, I agree with this 100%. I hate Loves due to the squared 35 spot model. If it's after 4 p.m., you're out of luck. Yeah, and their shops work bankers hours. Show up after 6 o'clock and try to get anything meaningful done. You might can get a tire, and that's about it. Otherwise, they're going to make you wait till the next day. Ronnie says he likes Fluffy and Cat Williams. Well, there you go. Since TA changed their points program a couple of years back to gear levels, you have to be at a certain level to redeem Ultra One credits for parking. Yeah, you'd have to be at a high level. Uh, $20 would be what, 20,000 points, or I don't know. I can't do math this time of night. My brain is scrambled. Just passed my DOT physical, celebrated with a Oreo milkshake. Yeah, when I went in the convenience store a minute ago, I love those little Debbie snack cakes, the white ones that are the circle. I can't even think of what they're called now. And I reached down and I was going to grab one. I was like, crap, I got to get blood drawn in the morning. No sugar for me until tomorrow. Have you ever used the Hammer app? No, I haven't. I'd never heard of it. I'll have to check it out. What's it about? What's it do? Ron White and Tim Conway. There you go. I like Ron White when they were on the Blue Comedy Tour with Jeff Foxworthy, who's hilarious. I've seen him in person before, and Larry the Cable Guy. If you're a 1099 contractor or owner operator, you need reserve parking. Just save. Yep, they are a tax deduction. Yeah, I agree with you, Craig. Reserve parking should be made available to fuel purchasers and those utilizing the shop. Of course, then the question, and this may be why they don't do it. Let's say that me and Craig both show up, and let's say Craig fills up his truck with diesel, and let's say I get an oil change. And let's say I get the parking spot before Craig does. Then Craig's going to say, well, I bought fuel. I'm entitled to a parking spot. And TA's going to say, well, we're sorry, we're full. And Craig's going to be mad. And Craig's going to say, well, I'm never going to shop at a TA again. Or vice versa. Maybe I come out of the shop. Craig gets the last spot after he filled up. He deserves that spot. And I'm going, well, I would have got that spot if I wouldn't have got my oil changed here. And so I can see why maybe they don't want to do it because it causes conflict. But I was talking about that specific situation where people are illegally parking because there's no more spots and there's 50 empty reserved ones that nobody's going to use. Why not let the guys that have fueled or that have got services done there go ahead and park in one of those spots? That's where working at a big company comes in handy. Swift always had terminals everywhere, and Dart had, a few terminals. So if you was near one of the terminals, you could just go there and you'd have guaranteed parking. But when you work for a smaller company like I do now, you don't have those options necessarily. That's right, Ron White. Tater, isn't it Ron White that does tater salad? Oh yeah. Now John Candy is my favorite comedian for movies. I love the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. He also did a movie, Summer Rental, that's pretty funny. John Candy had some funny stuff, and Eddie Murphy's pretty funny as well. Yeah, gotta love Larry the Cable Guy. Yeah, Bill Engvall is funny. I agree with that. Part of that, and I guess I didn't mention him when I was talking about the blue collar comedy tour, but Bill Engvall is very funny, and he's had a few sitcoms that were pretty funny as well. I have paid for reserve parking in advance only to show up and find reserve parking is full. Yeah, and good luck getting your money refunded. Yeah, and then you go ask them to move. He says, I really hate being blocked in by drivers creating their own spots. Then you go ask them to move and they won't wake up or they're not in their truck and the truck stop won't tow them or do nothing about it. Um, this was a long time ago, probably 20 something years ago. Uh, I was late on a delivery because somebody had blocked me in and we couldn't find him to get him to move. And by the time they did find him, that's in my younger years, I was fighting mad. That's all they could do to keep me from tearing him apart. Nothing worse than having to knock on a door that is illegally parked and blocking others in. Then they get mad for waking them. Yeah. And some of them are like, okay, they're cool, they'll move. And some of them are like, oh, screw you, I'm not moving. And then you're kind of, what do you do at that point? You've either got to get more aggressive or just say, all right, I'll sit here till they move. Yeah, my mom loves Steve Martin. She thought he was really funny. Some of his movies was pretty good. That movie that he did with Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase is another one I like. Tim Allen. But they did a movie, Three Amigos, with Martin Short and Chevy Chase and Steve Martin. It was pretty funny too. It was one of those movies that was kind of like Austin Powers. It was so stupid, it was funny. I found a few truck stops that don't fill up and park in their reserve because they don't check. Yeah, it seems like a lot of truck stops aren't checking right now, and it's just I'm scared to risk it because I don't want to be woke up in the middle of the night and told I got to leave, and then when I leave, there's no parking, so I'm screwing up my logbook. Then I got to take another 10-hour break. I usually just pay the 15 or $20 to get left alone. Hey, Logic Neo's here. Thanks for coming in, my friend. Pilot put out a new memo in all their locations that managers are required to pull a list and drive around with maintenance and kick drivers out if they aren't paid reserves. Yeah, in honesty, I rarely stop at a Pilot or a Flying J. They're probably my least favorite truck stop chain. Now, sometimes you ain't got a choice. That's all that's there. And I've even had to buy a shower at a few of them, which their showers are okay. But I don't like what they're selling. So I don't typically stop there a lot. I don't get fuel discounts with them with any of the cards I use, really. So not a lot of reason for me to go there unless there's just no other parking available. Blew the radiator at Love's. They were no help. Walked across the street and they had a radiator. Love's told me we can't find a radiator nowhere. Oh gosh, that's crazy. Tia and Petro will allow you to use your points to pay for parking. Yeah, that's what we was talking about a minute ago. Though you fill up, say you get 150 gallons, so you get $1.50 in points, and then they want to charge you 20 or $25 for parking. So in theory, you'd have to fill up what 17, 18 times to get one free parking night. It doesn't equate to what it should be for parking. They should have it if you buy 100 gallons, you get a free parking spot. If you buy 50, you get a free shower. 100 or 125, you get a free parking spot. Logic Neo says, good, yo, nice seeing you're reaching out, speaking the truth. Well, thank you, my friend. Yeah, I think all of them allow you to use points for Wi-Fi or parking or whatever. But if you're only getting $1.50 in points and what you're wanting to buy is $20 or $25, you got to do a lot of fill-ups to get one free night of parking. And they need to make it more accessible, is all I'm saying. I like the chicken at Pilot Flying J. Yeah, I get screwed every time I go to Pilot Flying J. Maybe that's why I'm bitter towards them. I'm not that big a fan of Denny's. It's expensive for what you get, and a lot of them have Denny's, and their pizza always looks good, and then when you buy it, it doesn't look like, or it doesn't taste like it looks. And so I always feel like I got ripped off because I buy their pizza and I go, yuck, this is terrible. The company John's with is only deals with Loves. Yeah, I'm okay with Loves. I don't like their parking lots, but other than that, and I don't like their bit bankers hours for their shop. But other than that, I like Loves. Chevy Chase asking if they had any more besides Mexican food. Three Amigos. That wasn't even in their script. Yeah, yeah, that funny. That movie's pretty funny to me, anyway. I know it's stupid, so you guys can say, "Oh, Todd, that's a stupid movie," but it was meant to be stupid. It's still funny. Pilot had to refund me a week ago because people parked in reserve and was told they couldn't make them move. See, isn't that crazy? So why don't we all just park in paid parking if they can't make us move? Why do any of us follow the rules and pay for parking or do what we're supposed to do? I remember I went to McDonald's recently and they had a guy right in front of them walk in, fill his mug, and walk out the door. And I'm like, aren't you going to go after him? They're like, nah, It happens all the time. And I'm like, why did you just charge me $3 for a drink if you're going to give it to everybody else for free? I don't get it. Why am I being penalized for being the honest guy? The shower costs the store more since they have to have someone to clean them, so they give them and say they're more valuable than reserved parking. Well, a shower is cheaper than reserved parking because I can get a shower for $12 to $15, and parking's usually 20 to 25. The other thing I would say is because all the poop bags and pee bottles and trash bags everywhere, they also have to pay somebody to clean the parking lot, just like they have to pay somebody to clean the shower. And it's usually a maintenance guy that they don't have any shop work for them to do. So I don't know about that, but if that's true, I would think you're right. I tend to agree with you. They've got laundry and they've got soap and things like that for, the towels after you take a shower, and they got to pay somebody to clean the stalls. So why is a shower $12 or $15, and why is truck parking $20 or $25 if the truck parking costs them a lot less to do? Marcus says, I have well over 33,000 points with Pilot Flying J, and I would like to donate those points to Trucker Todd. Okay, we can make that happen. No, what he says is, I have over 33,000 points with Pilot Flying J, and I'm looking forward to making a large purchase soon. There you go. Christmas is right around the corner. Try to pick something you think I'll like, and if you need any suggestions, email me. What the deuce is up? DIY sent me here. Ah, good deal. Thanks for being here. Yeah, him and Cassius King were here earlier. I don't know if they're still here, but Cassius King was funny. He was in rare form tonight, said some funny stuff. DIY had some good information. If you're fans of them, you may want to watch the replay because they had some good stuff earlier. Pot roast used to be good when they had it. Yeah, my wife loves their pot roast, and some of them still have it. Occasionally, you'll find the pot roast because you're actually paying for the cup. Yeah, I have my own mug. I can't show it to you right now, but I got my own insulated mug, and I get free refills at the Loves usually, and even at the other truck stops. A lot of times they won't charge you for a refill uh, if you have your own mug. Bring back the $1.99 Grand Slam. There you go. That'd be nice. Yeah, true, true. So it brings back. So they do have hot water bill, towels, etc. The cost to launder the towels and washcloth and the soap refills and all that. So it brings the question: why is a shower $15 and why is paid parking $20 or $25? Tim Back says, I had 67,000 pilot points, but last week I went shopping. So now I'm down to 33,600. Wow, that's a lot. I'd be afraid I'd lose my card with that many points on it. Somebody had hit the jackpot. I subbed and I'll watch the replay. I got to shave my dog and give her a shower. I'll try to listen in the background if I can. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate it, my friend. What kind of dog have you got, by the way, if you got time to tell us before you go off and do that? I don't know how much longer we'll go. We may wrap it up here. We're at the 2 hour mark. I hate to leave while we're going strong, though. We're getting a lot of good comments, conversations flowing, and we still got 46 in here. So it's all in all a pretty good night. I don't know if my wife is still taking care of the horse or if she's home now. Oh, it's a Maltese. Cool. That's a good truck dog. Good, nice size to have on the truck. I don't see how these guys do it that have pits or Rottweilers or things like that. Seem like it'd be hard to take care of on a truck. But good deal, man. I appreciate you coming in and checking out the show, and look forward to talking to you in the future when you got more time. Nope, she's still over there taking care of all that, so we're good to go. We can stay here and talk a little while longer if y'all have got anything y'all want to talk about. Is taking care of the horse what they call it now? LOL. No, she really is. So she's got a friend that has a horse, and it makes me very glad I do not have a horse because I don't think I could afford one. They're expensive and they're very high maintenance. Essentially, having a horse is like having a second girlfriend. They're very expensive. And tonight, they're having to replace the shoes on the horse. Apparently, the horse likes Nike. It's, the horseshoes like the game you play. They're having to tend to the hoofs tonight. And her friend asked her if she'd come over, and I don't think she's really helping. I think she's just kind of watching, but they hang out and have girl talk while the horse gets tended to. I agree. Good one, Tim. After we had all the talk about good comedians, Tim wanted to be nominated as a good comedian. The TA in Florida have a gate and a ticket to get in, $5 parking or 10 in the store. Yeah, that's not too bad because in that situation, just like we was talking about, if you bought fuel there, obviously you'd buy more than $10 of fuel. And if you went in and got you something out of the store, you'd spend more than 10, or you could pay 5 for the parking. So I think that's a lot more. Uh, I think that's more in line and reasonable than what these big chains are doing. Very expensive, but fun to ride. Yeah, of course, around here, you can go to Paladura Canyon and you can ride a horse, or a lot of people have horses that, they'll let you ride their horses and stuff. So, the old saying of why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? I guess it goes to horses too. Why buy the horse when you can ride horses for free if that's what you want to do? And now that I'm old and fragile, if I fell off a horse that in this day and age, all the king's horses and all the king's men probably wouldn't be able to put Trucker Todd back together again. Horses are fun to ride someone else's. Exactly. They're worse than raising kids, money down the drain. I would add classic Corvettes to that mix. They're fun to drive, but they're more fun to drive when you're driving somebody else's. They're money pits. Walcott has a dog bath and grooming station for free. Yeah, back when we had a dog, we stopped there once and washed it. I say we, my wife washed it and I watched, but yeah, we did that once. Yeah, and this girl, he says feeding a horse is a money pit, but he does love them. This girl feeds her horse 4 times a day, and from what I understand, most people feed their horse twice a day. I'm by no means a horse expert, but man, 4 times a day, that's a lot of gas and time spent. But I don't think I could afford to have a horse, and I couldn't afford to pay somebody to take care of it for me while I'm out here on the road. Now, a good friend of mine that's in here right now, and I'm not going to put him in the spotlight unless he wants to be. He's got a pretty decent ranch in Kentucky, and he's got horses and all that. But his wife takes care of all that while he's out here on the road, and his son, and so he's got a support system that they could handle that. But yeah, I don't have a desire to have a horse. I do have a desire to ride one, and I felt it especially today when I was making that delivery. I was like, man, I'd really like to ride some horses. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe I can do that before too long. Yeah, funny. Most people don't remember Don Knotts as being a comedian. We all think of him as Barney Fife and some of the movies he made and things like that. But yeah, Don Knotts was another good one. Still loving the solar powered headset. Yeah, I was talking about it at the start of the show. My headset broke. Hopefully, y'all can. Let me get that comment off so you can see it. And so I've got it upside down. There we go. Hard to adjust to the camera. The other one broke, so I'm not using it right now. But a new one came in the mail. They sent me a replacement under warranty, and they made some changes on the second batch that they've made it more sturdy. And so, matter of fact, let me put that link down here again. So when I get this one, it should be more sturdy. And I'm looking forward to going home and getting it. I hadn't been home yet, but this will probably be this is my backup headset. This is a Road King 4000, and it's my backup. I keep it on the truck. And but when I get home, I'll start using the solar powered one. But yeah, I love it. I couldn't ask for a better headset. It's just nice not ever having to remember to plug it in or worry about the battery. It works surprisingly well. And some things I forgot to mention about it. They have an app you can download that'll tell you how fast that it's charging. And the little white button on the side of it that I couldn't figure out what it did, it'll also tell you how well it's charging. And now that I've got the new headset, I'll probably make a video here pretty quick and go over those two things since I originally didn't know those two things. So look for some more videos to come out about that headset pretty soon. Seeing you on this late is a pleasant surprise. I thought I missed you this week. Well, thank you. It was because of a big mishap. The insurance guy wasn't able to come on tonight. He didn't give me the stuff he needed to get vetted so I could get him on. And then a load that I was supposed to deliver tomorrow, they asked me if I could deliver it tonight. And so I went ahead and delivered it tonight, and it kind of put me a couple hours behind. But I was glad everybody waited up for me, and we still got to come on and do this. I look forward to these shows, and evidently some of y'all do too. But it's always nice when I can do one, and I hate when I have to cancel one. And I know some of you get really frustrated when that happens. Don Knotts was the best on Three's Company. Yeah, I liked Mr. Furley too, but not Mr. Furley. That was Don Knotts. The Ropers. But Don Knotts is funny. Just some of the faces he made was hilarious. All right, let me skip. I don't know why it's putting stuff. So I'm going to show you the equivalent on this headset, and hopefully you'll be able to hear me. On this side of maybe I can turn the mic. Hopefully y'all can hear me. On this side of the headset, the plastic right here broke. So not on the earpiece side, but on the other side, the plastic started cracking. And I tried to super glue it because I really love the headset. And it broke again. The plastic was kind of flimsy. They called that the first run. The second run, because of the stuff I told them and things like that, they made some improvements with it, and it shouldn't be a problem anymore. And they're pretty good about warrantying it. Like I said, they sent me another one that's at the house right now. I sent them some pictures and told them what the problem was, what my concerns were, and we didn't argue about it. They didn't give me a hard time. Red Fox wasn't bad either. Yeah, I had a friend in elementary school, and I'm talking like first and second grade, that when we hang out, he'd always want to watch Red Fox. You heard Don Knox was one of the meanest drill instructors at Paris Island. I don't know, man. Way before my time. DIY sent me as well, enjoying it. Thanks, the animal. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I don't think he's ever done that before. We were in here talking, and then he came back and put a message on saying that he had shared my video out. I appreciate when you guys do that. That's probably, I know some of you donate money, and that's always great when you do that. But in this market, as tight as money is, if you can just share the videos out and give them a thumbs up, it's free to do, and that also helps me a lot. And I appreciate you. It helps this channel grow. And since I left the mega carriers and come to the small company, I've really took a hit on subscribers and stuff like that. So I really appreciate anything y'all can do, word of mouth, telling your friends about Trucker Todd. those kind of things. That really helps me. And who knows, now that y'all know who I am, say hi to me when you see me watching a DIY live or a Cash is King live or something like that. But I appreciate each and every one of you being here for sure. Hello, I'm in Rhode Island. I don't go there. The last time I went in the Northeast, I spent $600 in tolls, and I decided I need to stay out of there for a while. Wesley just recently started a new company too, and so he's going to give it a few weeks, and then he'll report back to us about how he's doing over there as well. Sanford and Son was awesome. He and Esther going at it all the time. Yeah, and him always thinking he's having a heart attack. Guess they had to make the headset Trucker Todd proof. Yeah, well, I don't know about that. I think I probably broke it stretching it over my big head, but either way, man, you for those of you that get it, and I don't know how many people have ordered one yet, but I guarantee you I'll know when you people start ordering it because you'll be commenting, "Wow, I love this headset." I mean, it sounds good when you play music, it sounds good on calls. It sounds good when I do these lives. And I did the test where I walked around the trailer in a video and you could hear me clearly all the way around. So if you're in the back sweeping out your trailer or closing your doors, it's not going to drop a call. And, they're new to market. They were doing business to business sales and now they want to go more retail. And so I want to be supportive of that and get some competition out there. And with that promo code, all little letters, one word, Trucker Todd, you save 20%, which is $49.80, I believe. It ends up making it a $200 headset. But I mean, that's cheaper than most of them in the truck stops. And as headsets like this get more popular, it's going to, competition causes prices to go down. So we're all going to benefit from having new competition in the market. And if we can get something better that's cheaper, why wouldn't we do it? The cast of Carol Burnett's show was epic. Yeah, that one guy's pretty funny. Is it Ted White? Is that his name? And also, I just finished doing Betty White's audiobook. I guess the last one she did before she died, and it's a pretty good book. It's got some interesting stories in it. And it's not a very long audiobook either. What kind of warranty does it have? We're looking for a good one. Now that I don't know. You'd reach out to them. I would assume it's a year, but I don't know. Mine broke relatively quick, like in the first 2 or 3 months. And they emailed me back and said they sent me a replacement and that they had made some changes on the second batch that was coming out. And they didn't think I'd have this problem anymore. That's part of what I want to do a video about when I get home and see it. I want to see if it visually looks the same as the first one. Maybe they're just using a better plastic now. Maybe the way they affix that plastic is different. It had like 4 little screws. Maybe now it snaps in or something like that. But that's what I want to do is kind of compare it. I've still got the old one, and I can kind of look at them both side by side and see what the differences are. And I don't know if you order more than one headset, I don't know if you need to do it as 2 separate orders to get the Trucker Todd discount, or if you could do 2 of them on the same ticket. I do know that they sell other headset models, but the only one that has the 20% discount is the one that the link takes you to. The Dean Martin celebrity roast was extremely funny too. I hadn't seen it. It's strange that people would bail because you switched companies. It happens. It basically, people come and go and people come back. There's guys that watched me when I was at Roadrunner that hadn't watched me at 2 or 3 years, and they honestly forgot about me. And then because one of you shared my videos or something, it'll show up in the suggestions again, and they'll say, I hadn't seen Trucker Todd in 2 or 3 years. I'm gonna I'm going to tune in and see what he's up to now. And so it's like a revolving door. Some people go, some people stay. But I will say this, and I've had other YouTubers comment about this. My viewers are extremely loyal, and I've got a lot of you that if I quit trucking tomorrow, you'd stick with me. You've become good friends, and you're with me. Even if you disagree with the decision I make, or you think I'm doing stupid things, you'd still stick with me, and you're the ones that I really appreciate because I've got some true friends in here, and I've also got some that if I closed my YouTube channel in 2 weeks, they wouldn't remember who I was. And there's some YouTubers I watch that if they close their channel in 2 weeks, I probably wouldn't remember who they was. I'm going to keep doing what I do and helping as many people as I can for as long as I can. I'm 50 years old right now. In December, I'll be 51, and hopefully, I can do this for several more years. But you never know. I could go to the doctor on the first, and he could say, "We need to put you on insulin," and this could all end. Or I could have a heart attack and not be on the truck for 3 months while I'm getting evaluated, and this could all end. Some of you'd still stick around because you're that kind of friend, and some of you'd bail, and I don't hold it against you. I'm just going to tell you the good and bad of wherever I'm at, and I'm getting ready to talk about the company I'm at now. Some of you are going to be really disappointed because right now it's all good. I don't really have anything negative. I'm living the dream. I wish rates were better, but that's not the company's fault. I'm the one negotiating my own rates. But I've got a good trailer. I went out and got my own truck. So if I don't like my truck, that's my fault. Uh, he did a super job on the decals, though. Super. And so he's been good to me. He's treated me fair. We've only bumped heads one time. In that instance, I think we were both wrong. We've since apologized, made peace, and everything's fine. So, yeah, but yeah, it's just the nature of the beast. It's part of it. Some people are easily offended too. So, when you do 4 to 6 hours a week of video time, eventually you're going to say something that somebody doesn't like. And some people will argue with you. Some people react. Some people will ignore it. And some people will say, well, I'm not going to watch you no more. You said you think Tia and Petro have a good restaurant. I'm not watching you no more. And so you have to know that that's the world you live in. Uh, John Toohey says, I'm sorry, Wesley. He's referring to Wesley's comment about being up in Rhode Island. That's funny. When Lamont was just a boy, I about broke his leg trying to get Elizabeth out of bed. I don't even know what that means. That's way above my head. Roasts are fun to watch. I agree with John. Yeah, they are. Wesley thinks what John said is funny too. Yeah, John's one of those guys. When you get to know him, he's a pretty funny guy. But he's a good loyal friend too. Tim Conway. Yeah, somebody mentioned Tim earlier. I go where the freight pays. Yeah, I do too to a degree, but there's other factors you have to weigh in. Now, if you're at Swift and they're paying your tolls, then maybe. But when I'm paying my own tolls and stuff, I'm going to try to avoid that area unless there's a big payoff. And I just think by the time you pay for the increased price and fuel up there, and you pay for the tolls, and you pay for the parking and all the added expense up there, that it's really not that much more money than if you go somewhere else. And you got a lot more headache and road congestion and things like that. I didn't pay but $8 for my last head plus set. Ah, so your last Bluetooth headset was $8 plus. Oh, well, that's not bad at all. Yeah, if you could use points, that's not a bad way to go. I hear you better than me. I don't get it, John. What? Gomer Pyle. Well, golly. How much can you make weekly if you team lease? Depends where you go and what you're hauling. And I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into it. There's not a set number. Also, uh, yeah, that's, there's a lot of factors that go into that. Gym neighbors, golly. Yep. Carnivore diet, best for life. Yeah, the owner of the company that I work for is on that carnivore diet, and I'd never heard of it before. And when he flew to Lubbock with his wife, and they were eating out with me and my wife, he mentioned something about being a carnivore and being on a carnivore diet. And I thought, I'm from West Texas. I'm a carnivore too. We eat beef 3 meals a day. We love steaks and things like that. But I didn't realize it was an actual diet until he started explaining it to me. And it's really, really interesting because basically he eats a diet of all my favorite foods. Now, it could get pretty expensive. I guess if you bought all the meat and cooked it on the truck yourself, it could be fairly reasonable, but it is still fairly expensive cuts of meat that he's eating. But yeah, I wouldn't have any trouble doing that diet. And I got my George Foreman in here. The biggest pain in the butt about the George Foreman is cleaning it afterwards. I've got some Clorox wipes in here, and I sanitize it and clean it, but you get crap all over the floor, and then you got to sweep it up. Crumbs from your meat seasoning and stuff like that. The guy that was in here earlier, Scorpion Trucker, if you guys aren't subscribed to him, he does a lot of cooking on his truck, and there's some good information there. When did you purchase your truck? Did they let you do an oil sample and bring in your own mechanic? So, I've done videos about my truck. I did not do an oil sample. I could have. I should have. I didn't. And I could have brought in my own mechanic as well. I could have. I should have. And I didn't do that as well. I do have a 2-year, 250,000-mile warranty. I did look it over pretty extensively for about an hour. But things to keep in mind, and I know I'm going to catch some flack for saying this. Even if you do those things, even if you bring a mechanic in, there's still a possibility a mechanic's going to miss something. Even if you do an oil sample, I mean, there's no guarantee. An oil sample's a really good thing to do, but there's still, I mean, you're delaying the inevitable. If they find something wrong, maybe you fix it, maybe you don't, maybe you get the truck, maybe you don't. In the ideal world, yeah, that's what you do. You bring a mechanic in, and you do that. At that point, I was just desperate to get back to work again. I'd been off 7 weeks after the accident, and I was blowing through money like a rock star. I'd spent roughly $35,000, and I was trying to hang on to my last couple of thousand for any surprises, which ended up happening. Turned out to not be mechanical issues with the truck per se. The brakes were all out of adjustment, and it wouldn't pass a Texas inspection. But it turned out to be getting the title transferred. That hassle ended up taking almost a week to fix, and it resulted in a lot of downtime. And then I had to bobtail from my house to where orientation was. That ended up being over an 800-mile trip, so a lot of money there. But yeah, mechanically the truck's been pretty solid. The stuff that ended up being wrong was stuff that I don't know a mechanic would have caught, and definitely an oil sample test wouldn't have caught. For example, my APU, the belt went out on it, and it needed a fuel pump. The belt would have gone out, and the mechanic may or may not have caught it. fuel pump, he probably wouldn't have caught it because it went out 3 or 4 weeks later. Actually, longer than that. I think 5 or 6 weeks later. The starter went out. Unless it did it right there in front of him, he probably wouldn't have caught that either because it wasn't doing it till I got it back to Texas. So I don't know that. Well, the things you're suggesting are great ideas. I don't know that it would have made a difference in my situation. It definitely would in a lot of other people's situations, though. And it is great advice. Carnivore diet's expensive. Yeah, but we're all truck drivers and we're all rich. Your crazy uncle likes Sanford and Son. Prices are at a record high, but don't forget we must defend democracy in Ukraine. I don't know if they're at record high. I can remember times when gas prices were higher. I do think they're high. Okay, I missed a comment. I'm going to go back. Okay, so you mean at Dart. If you do a team lease at Dart, how much can you make? So I think it would be bad for me to comment on that because I haven't worked for Dart in about 2 years. And they've had some leadership changes and some management changes. They've got a new CEO that just started there 2 weeks ago. So he's making a lot of changes. And also, I would also throw the caveat in there that I never ran team for Dart. So I don't think I would be the best person to answer that. But Dart's not a bad company. It's my problem with Dart was always the safety department and the shops in Ellenwood, Georgia, and in Lancaster, Texas. Other than that, Dart was a great company. Don't expect to get any referral money. They proved that they were vibers. Who are we talking about, Michael? You lost me. I'm not expecting to get any referral money from anywhere right now. It'll never be as bad as the 6 million Jews that were killed in the Holocaust. Don't, so you meant fibbers. So don't expect to get any referral money. They proved that they were fibbers. Who are we talking about, Michael? Are you still recommending them for a truck? So not right now. I think I know who we're talking about now. No, right now I'm not recommending them. I had a real unpleasant conversation with them today, and so yeah, right now I'm not recommending them. If you guys want to go there, I'll still make the introductions. But so far, me and two other guys have got trucks from there, and I don't think any of the three of us would say that uh, things went exactly like they wanted to. They took pretty good care of me until recently, but the other two guys both had pretty bad experiences. All three of us had title transfer problems, and so now, like I say, if they remedy those things, I'll come back on here and say, "Hey, they fixed everything." But until they do, I'm not going to openly say, "Yeah, go get a truck there." They're going to have to do the right thing. We all make mistakes, and so if they make a mistake, fine, own up to it. Say, "Hey, Todd, we screwed up. We're sorry." I'll come on here. I'll say, "Hey, they apologized. Now I recommend them again." But right now, that's not what's happening. And so sometimes when you realize when you're dealing with somebody that's unethical or somebody that uh, is incapable of telling the truth, I like to call it wrestling with the truth, then you just have to drop them. And incidentally, I talked to two different sets of people today that owe me a substantial amount of money, and I didn't have a positive outcome with either one of them. They're ethically challenged. 2008 was the worst fuel year. Yeah, we bought a pickup in 2008 and took a picture of it in front of a Walmart in Texas, and it was like 354 or 358 a gallon right now, and it's not quite that high where I live right now. So I hadn't been there. I hadn't had a chance to look yet, but I think it's just over three right now. Of course, where I live is one of the cheapest places in the country, typically for gasoline. I bought like 7 trucks in the past 8 years. They were all around 1 million miles, and I never did oil samples. Usually you can tell by how the engine runs. Yeah, I agree with you, Alaska Hall. A lot of that's coming from the guys that listen to Sirius XM. Some of those guys really recommend doing the oil samples, and it's not a crazy idea because it can alert you to problems with your engine way in advance. The problem with doing it at a dealership, though, is all the oil samples I've seen, they want you to do them mid-cycle. Well, every dealership changes the oil on a truck before you get it. They do a service. So you show up to do an oil sample and it's got brand new oil in it. You're not going to get the information you need. So it's silly to do an oil sample if it's not going to tell you what you need to know. And you guys know going to mechanics like going to a doctor. Some of them are better than others. There's some of them you give them $200 and they're going to look the truck over thoroughly. Some of them are going to walk around for 200, kick the tires, smell the oil, and go, "All right, you got a good truck." Or nope, or they'll play it safe, say, "Nope, don't buy this one." Beef, bacon, butter, eggs. I add cheese, drink water and coffee. No sugar, no carbs, no vegetable oils. 1 month challenge. You will thank me. Yeah, this guy that was telling me about it, he said the first 3 weeks is really, really tough, and then he said after you do it, uh, that you'll start noticing a big weight drop. So it's just it's a lifestyle change, and it takes some getting used to, and I think that's the hardest part. What's the difference in our Iraq war and the Ukrainian war? Yeah, I'm gonna try to avoid politics tonight. Cordell truck sales. Yeah, they definitely wrestle with the truth, or they have thus far. The guy that I was working with, Avery, it was kind of new with them, and some of it could be honest mistakes. But like I say, if you make an honest mistake, you own up to it. You say, "Hey, I'm new. I messed up. I'm sorry. Here's what we're going to do to fix it." You don't make excuses and go, "Oh, well, it's because of this. It's because of that." And incidentally, I'm not behind on truck payments. I told them I'd catch it up on Friday, and I did. I'm current on everything related to the truck. So there's absolutely no reason they shouldn't pay me the money they owe me. I asked them about it today and got the same runaround. We got to talk to the sales manager. We'll let you know. So you've known since Friday I was caught up. What's your excuse now? I love my 2024 Peterbilt 579 Ultra Loft 500 horsepower pack car. There you go. Yeah, that's a nice truck. 9 to 12 miles per gallon. Go on by the gauges. There you go. That's good. I would tell you, though, that it's better to download an app and do it off hub miles and actual gallons you put in the tank. But if you're happy with the results you're getting, then keep doing what you're doing. If you want to improve it a little, then you might try. The reason is you can detect problems a little sooner if you start noticing declines in fuel economy. No problem. I just want to be fair to them. I don't want to say, yeah, they're a great place for teams, and you get there and it's a nightmare. And I don't want to dissuade you from going there, and then you find out later, oh, it's a great place, and you should have ignored me and went there. When the other guy was here earlier, Contractor's Corner, He runs like a super single over there as a team with his wife. He would have probably been a better person to ask. He knows a lot of teams over there currently. Oh no, he's at Swift. Never mind. Yeah, I don't know any teams at Dart, so I couldn't really help you with that. Okay, we may have to start blocking people here in a minute. Is the truck warranty with them or with Kenworth? It's with a third party. Should we get you a lawyer because they owe you money? It's not going to do any good. It's a in lawyer speak, it's a small enough amount of money that no lawyer is going to be interested in it, and so it becomes more of a small claims issue, and it's not worth it. I can I can hurt them a lot more by just publicly talking about how they did me and leaving it at that. Because here's the deal: uh, they they're thinking they're saving themselves whatever they're cheating me out of. But how many people are going to not buy a truck from them now as a result of this? If they'll do it to a guy like me that has a platform and has a channel, then they'll do it to a guy like you that doesn't have a platform or have a channel. And that's what I say about these trucking companies too. If they'll screw me over knowing that I can come on here and talk about it, then they'll screw you over. If they're treating me good, then they'll probably treat you good. And so, yeah, like Gary's saying, they'll just get more lawyers. So it's a no go. And we're talking about small amounts of money. Now, if they owed me $100,000, yeah, maybe it makes sense to get a lawyer. Maybe, the lawyer gets 20 or 30,000, he'll take a third. But when we're talking less than $1,000, we just need it to be a learning experience. And the best thing I can do is come on here, tell you guys the truth, good or bad, and then y'all can decide if y'all want to do business with them. But I've already had probably 3 or 4 guys say, well, I was considering them. I'm not getting a truck from them now because I don't want to deal with people that would do you that way. And so, and we've had the same thing when F2F fired me. Several people said, well, I was considering F2F, but I'm not going to work for a company that'll do a driver that way. I didn't necessarily feel like they did me bad, but I do feel like it could have been handled better. But I still think they're a good outfit too. Tim says his truck was running 8 miles to the gallon on the dash, but when he did the mileage in gallons, it ended up being 6.5. So don't go by the gauges. I'm running an APU as well, so that sucks some fuel. Yeah, and just because I know a little bit about Tim's situation, I'm going to remove the comment because it's covering my face. He's been pulling a lot of really heavy loads lately. So getting 6.5 doesn't necessarily mean there's anything wrong with his truck. He's just been in a lot of mountainous regions with heavy loads. I look for his numbers to come up above 8 when things kind of level out a little bit. Well, I love my 16 T660 Studio Sleeper that's not governed. Yeah, I think those are pretty trucks too. Mine is set at 75. There's nothing stopping me from turning it up. The title's in my name. But, 75 is plenty for pretty much everywhere we run. Uh, I guess there's a few places that the speed limit's 80 or 85. Once you get up around those speeds, you're just blowing it out the stacks. You can just watch your fuel economy drop. So I don't know. Even if I had a triple digit truck, I don't know that I'd ever use it. 75 is probably about as fast as I'd ever go. Eventually, they're going to get you frustrated enough to the point that you will return the truck. I don't think so. Eventually, the economy may force me to return the truck, but as long as I can make the payments, I'll keep driving it. It's there's so much advantages to you that open up when you have your own truck, and I really am working for a great guy right now that has done everything, probably more than I would have done humanly. Well, I know he's done more than I would have done humanly possible for me to be successful, including putting a starter in my truck in his driveway. So there's not really a way I can quit here without and pay him the respect he deserves. I can't burn this guy. So I'm not going to return this truck. But like I said, it's just going to be that I'm not going to push him, and the word of mouth hurts these companies more than anything else. And so that's all I'll say. If somebody calls me and says, "Hey Todd, I know you had a bad experience, but I think they're good guys. I want to buy a truck from them. Can you help me out?" Yeah, I'll make the introductions, but they're not going to be able to come back to me 2 weeks later and go, "Well, why didn't you tell me?" Because I'm going to share the honest truth with you on here. Got to take another drink. My voice is going. Yeah, Tim got his truck from the same place I did, and his is completely ungoverned. He doesn't have any of the beepers or buzzers or nothing, and he says he doesn't miss a company truck. Well, true, let bygones be bygones. I don't know that I'm letting bygones be bygones because I'm pretty bitter about it, but I'm just I don't think I need to take legal action. I don't think I'm not going to go protest in front of their dealership. I'm going to occasionally mention it in videos, and if they start getting phone calls about, "Hey, we were going to buy a truck from you, but we don't like how you did Trucker Todd." If they get 2 or 3 phone calls along that lines, they may decide, "Hey, we might want to pay Todd just to make this bad publicity go away." Or they might want to issue a rebuttal. They might want to say, "Hey, Todd's full of crap. That never happened." They're free to do that if they want to, but uh, I think that most of us know how dealerships can be, and I think the story I'm telling is kind of credible. So I think at some point they're going to do the right thing, but I think the longer they wait, the worse it is for them. Hey, here's somebody I haven't seen in a long time. Miss Mother Trucker, how are you doing, my friend? It's sad when someone won't sell their integrity for under 1,000. Yep, yep. I'll sell my integrity, but it's more expensive. No, I'm joking. Yeah, it's just the way of the world now. Um, I've shared this in other videos. My dad was a farmer, and a lot of times back in those days, a cotton farmer, 2 guys could make an agreement with a handshake, and both guys would honor that agreement. And it's not that way anymore. You got to have contracts, and people look for loopholes in contracts. And what that tells you is people don't have any integrity or any morals anymore. They're just trying to figure out how they can get over. And you can get over by being honest. I've shared this in videos. I've done very, very well the last few years on YouTube just by being honest. And other people have tried to duplicate me on YouTube, and they try to be dishonest. And that's not how you do it. If you'll just come on here and tell the truth, good or bad, it will benefit you. Now, some trucking companies are going to hate you, and some trucking companies are going to love you. They're going to love you when you're saying good about them, and they're going to hate you when you're saying bad about them. But you've got to stay true to yourself. And it's why when I run into you guys in truck stops, people aren't taking swings at me. People are wanting to buy me lunch and shake my hand and thank me because I'm telling the truth. And that's what you got to do out here. It's so yeah, I'm not going to sell my integrity. I'm going to tell the truth. And would it benefit me if I just never told the story and let them stick me for the $1,000 or 500 or whatever it is? Yeah, probably. I'd probably still get some people going there, and eventually they'd nickel and dime me here and there, and I'd get my money. But then I'd have to face those same people at some point and explain to them why I blatantly lied to them about the experience they were going to have. So I think I'm doing the right thing. It's a strategy that's worked very well for me. It seems like the harder I try to help people, the better off my life turns out to be. And I've been in some pretty bad places the past month. Where at one point I went to Lubbock thinking I was going to lose everything, and something always happens. I always make it through, and I really think it's because a lot of y'all are praying for me. I really think that's what's behind it. But I just keep doing the right thing. I keep trying to help people. I keep accepting those prayers, and somehow I make it through. I wish it was a little less stressful because I stay stressed a lot of times, and there's a lot of sleepless nights. But I'm finally starting to see some daylight, and I think I'm climbing out of this mess. But it's been tough. The toughest I remember in almost 27 years of driving. December will be 27 years. I run reefer loads, chicken and cheese, not that heavy. Yeah, they're building a big cheese factory in Lubbock, and I'm hoping to get some loads out of there. Obviously, I can't pull reefer loads. I don't have a reefer, but they'll still need pallets and cardboard and things like that, and supplies. So hopefully, I can get some loads in and out of there. It's supposed to be a really big deal when they build it. They're also building a couple Amazon warehouses here, and they may have those up already. So I'm hoping that results in more freight over here. Over 75 tire issues may happen with tires, especially if loaded. Yeah, I've popped a few tires since I've been with this company, and it's not that he has bad tires or nothing like that. It's just I've been pulling heavy loads. It's over 100 degrees outside, and these tires get hot. And so, yeah, it is. You'll see a lot more alligators, the tire, the remains of the tires. You'll see a lot more on the road this time of year because everybody's popping tires in this heat. But um, all of the trailers I've had with him, I've only had two. They've all had good tires. And when I called him and said I had a blowout, he was just as surprised as I was. Yeah, you would be kicked down to small claims court. Yeah, I agree, and I just don't think it's worth it. If I go to small claims court, even if I win and get my money, there's going to be some fees associated with that, some travel expenses, and nobody will ever know about it. Somebody could still be a victim of their dishonesty. Doing it this way, coming on here telling my story, this reaches a lot more people than what I'd reach in small claims court. And like I said, I really think they're going to pay me within the next 2 weeks. This channel can be pretty persuasive, and that's because of you guys. You guys make this channel what it is, and y'all give it all the power. And as a result of that, that's why I'm able to help y'all sometimes when you call me and you're having problems with your company, especially if it's a company I know some people within the company. That's why I'm able to help sometimes because of y'all's support on this channel. I'm at Swift. It's dead here for owner operators thinking of leasing from Trucks for You. What do you think? So I actually, when was this? Maybe 2015. Now keep this in mind. This is a long time ago. I worked for Trucks for You. Some of the very first YouTube videos I did were at Trucks for You, and I had a really bad experience there. They may be different now. The problem that I would tell you to look at is look at their pay scale. You can make money there, but you're not going to make the kind of money you should be making as an owner operator. The straw in the camel's back, what made me leave there was I went to Dallas to recover a load. A guy had wrecked a trailer, and like the middle part of the trailer was gone. It was like about to break. It was a paper load. And they asked me to drive it from Dallas to Abilene and deliver the load carefully, and then take the trailer to a trailer shop. And I agreed to do it. I went to Abilene, I delivered the load, went to the trailer shop. Trailer shop said, "We don't fix that severe of damage anymore. You'll either have to go to Fort Worth, Lubbock, or El Paso." I was on my way to Lubbock for home time, so I called them because they normally didn't pay mileage to home time. And I said, "Hey, I'm about," he said, "the nearest place is Fort Worth, Lubbock, or El Paso. What do you want me to do with this trailer?" He said, "Well, if you're going home for home time, go ahead and take it to the shop up there. We'll pay you, even though we normally don't pay for home time, we'll pay you." I said, "Okay." So I took the trailer to the Lubbock shop. I went to home time. When I came out of home time, they said, "That Lubbock shop's not going to fix it either. We need you to take it to El Paso. That's where your next load is." I asked the same question again. "Hey, I'm coming out of the house. Am I going to get paid for running these miles?" "Yes." So I ran to El Paso, got my load. Like a week later, my dispatcher called me. He said, "Todd, I've got some bad news." I said, "Well, what is it?" I don't remember his name now, Ted or Tim or something like that, former driver. He said, "I know I said I was going to pay you for all those miles. They overrode me, the higher ups did. We're not going to pay you for those miles." Nothing. Well, from Fort Worth, or actually from Dallas at that TA, to Lubbock, well, to Abilene, then to Lubbock, then to El Paso is a lot of freaking miles. And back then they were only paying, I think, 88 cents a mile loaded or 95 cents a mile loaded. It was horribly low. I should have never went there to begin with. I think right now they're paying like $1.05 a mile. Well, I told him back then I had a small YouTube channel, 150, 200 viewers. I said, "If you don't pay me," I said, "I hate to do this, but I'm going to have to make a video." He said, "Yeah, we're sorry, Todd, we can't pay you." Well, I made the video. It got to the owner. Owner contacted me. "All right, Todd, we're going to pay you." Well, what they did, they paid me from Dallas straight to El Paso. Nothing going up to Lubbock, back down. So they still cheated me out of almost 300 miles. With the fuel surcharge, everything, you're looking at close to $500 that they cheated me back then. Now, a lot of people have told me, "Well, Todd, you should have just ate the $500, let them screw you out of the $500. And I said, "No, because this is lie upon lie." First of all, they lied to me. I did a trip, actually 2 trips, that I was told I was going to get paid for. I specifically asked. And then I was told later, "Well, we changed our mind. We're not going to pay you." And then, it's just, I can't work for people like that I can't trust. If they tell me they're going to pay me for something, they need to pay me for it. And so that's why I left that company. I got a load. The El Paso load went to, I believe it was Laredo. And I went to Robert Heath, who at the time had a terminal in Lubbock, Texas. And they were going to set me up on a Texas only type triangle. And it turned out that shortly after I went to work there, they sold out to SOAR, and I left as one of the drivers that left during the buyout. But yeah, that's what I would say about trucks for you. If you go there, let me know how it is. Maybe, trucking companies don't stay good forever. They don't stay bad forever. Maybe they have turned a new leaf. Maybe they're a whole new company now. But I would always be afraid to try them out. The Lord does help His children. Yep, I agree with that. Yep, praying for you. I appreciate that. You're a crazy uncle. 54 watching. You're on fire tonight. Well, I appreciate that. It's I appreciate everybody being here. I felt terrible coming on late. Maybe this time slot works better for you guys. If it does, we may could go to a later time slot. Maybe I need to put some polls out and see what's the most convenient time to do lives and stuff. These time slots were selected when I was at Swift, and they worked real well with what I was doing at Swift. But now that I'm on the spot market, sometimes they work great, sometimes they don't. Tuesdays seem to be a really busy day for me, and I like having them spaced out like Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, for example, I wouldn't want to do one Wednesday and Thursday or one Thursday and Friday or something like that. But I'm open to suggestions always. I just appreciate everybody taking the time to come in and watch. We're almost at the 3 hour mark. Actually, at this point, and I know what Tim's saying here, can't go to court or lawyers because there was nothing in writing. Very few companies will be honest with a word or handshake anymore. Pretty sad. I know what Tim's talking about there, but actually at this point, I've got it in some text messages as recently as today. So I do have it in writing now where they're openly admitting that they owe me the money. But like I said, I have no intention of going to court or going down that avenue. This channel has taught me that uh, the most powerful weapon I got is just to come on here and tell people about my experiences. And I guarantee you, I'm in several discussions in their office every week. When I speak, they hear me, or I should say, when we speak, because y'all are the ones that give me a voice on here. They have to pay you for 10 years if you did win. Difference in winning a judgment and a court order. Yeah, but it'd probably take, well, the lawyer would want a retainer fee up front, and it'd probably go to small claims court where I couldn't even use a lawyer. I'd have to pay for the small claims court, the court filing fees. And then as soon as I did that, they'd just pay me, and it'd be wasted money. I think the best action is just to sit it out. I do think they're going to pay me. He said as recently as today that he's working on it. So, I mean, I've got it in writing, but I think that this is a big thorn in their side too. And honestly, I think they'd like it to just go away as much as I would. Fat Cat 618, that's why I do percent of the load. Yeah, but to Fat Cat's point, percent, and I'll put his comment up so everybody can read it again real quick. It doesn't really matter if you're doing percentage or mileage pay if there's no loads. And what Fat Cat is saying is that it's dead there. They don't have any freight. And I have heard that it's picked up a little bit, but I mean, 80% of zero is still zero. So if they don't have any freight at Swift, it doesn't matter. Now, if they've got freight, percentage can be better. Mileage can be better. You know, you can get $2 a mile, but if you're in a 70-30 split, then you're giving 60 cents of that away. You're at $1.40. And a lot of mileage contracts pay better than that when you get the fuel surcharge. So I don't knock anybody for doing what they're doing. If somebody's happy where they're at, and then I'm not going to condemn them for what they're doing. If they like where they're at, but they're not making the kind of money they want to make, then I'm going to try to offer them advice to help them get where they want to be. But um, I mean, whether percentage or mileage is better really depends on the day of the week. They both kind of teeter totter back and forth. When rates are good, percentage is definitely better. Well, depending on what perks are involved. Now at Swift, I pulled a lot of loads that was in the $1.26 to $1.32, 33 range mostly. But I got a fuel surcharge anywhere from 40 to 70 cents. And so a lot of times I made more on it than I do on the spot market. But that could change. It's if there's no freight there, I wouldn't make more. But I just like the freedom I got right now. I don't even care about I care about money because I got bills that I'm stressing out about, but I care about the freedom too. And I love what I'm doing right now. And that's worth more than any percentage or any mileage contract. I really love what I'm doing right now. Yeah, and that's maybe I need to do a video about that. So companies are sitting around going, We can't figure out why we can't keep good drivers. Well, maybe it's an integrity thing. Maybe you don't lie to them just to get them in the door. Because here's what they do: they lie to you, get you to orientation. Then you get to orientation, you find out the company's nothing like what you thought it was. And the internet and reviews help a little bit now. But then they say, well, if you quit, you're going to look like a job hopper. So then you stay there 6 months or a year and you're miserable, but you don't want to leave because you don't want to be accused of being a job hopper, of having too many jobs in the last couple of years. But these trucking companies could save themselves so much money in recruiting expenses if they would just be honest. But maybe they know if they told you what they were really like, nobody would want to work there. And that should tell them something. If nobody wants to work there, maybe they should make changes to where people do want to work there. Evening, Mr. Todd. Hope you're doing well. Yes, sir. Thank you for being here. Swift has plenty of freight, but just like any big carrier, they're going to take care of their company trucks for their contractors. It's wrong, but it's business. Yeah, I used to say that in videos that their job is to make them money, not the contractor's money. Your job is to make the contractor money. And so that might mean sometimes they've got loads that benefit them, but they don't benefit you. And maybe you do one as a favor occasionally, and maybe they do you a favor occasionally. But you have to stop just taking whatever they send you and saying, well, that's what they gave me. No, they didn't give you anything. They sent you a load opportunity and you accepted it. So just think about that. So your crazy uncle says, hit that like button. I second that motion. If you hadn't done it yet, take a second, click the like button, hit share, and send this video out. I know DIY did that a little bit ago, and we got some new viewers in there, so we know it works. Also, if you subscribe, occasionally I'll throw out an extra video in the week. You'll catch it because it'll send you a little notification. You'll know it's here and you can watch. And I'm trying to get some more recorded content out as well. You guys shoot me emails at todd@truckertodd.net. Tell me what you'd like to see me talk about, and we'll talk about it. Tell me what you'd like me to show you, and I'll try to show you. With the exception of this truck, it's filthy right now, and I will not show you this truck, but I'm going to clean it while I'm here, unless I book a load fairly early in the morning. Yes, this is another great point. Craig's the one that's on fire tonight. He's had a lot of good comments. Depending on what division you're in at Swift and the relationships with planners, you can stay busy. Yeah, I stayed very busy at Swift, and a lot of people said, oh, it's because of the YouTube channel. They're taking care of you. I really don't think it was it. I picked up my loads on time. I delivered them on time. I was low maintenance. I did have an OOC that we mutually liked each other professionally. And, you know, he sent me a very nice text message when I left Swift and said how much he had enjoyed working with me. But they sent me some good loads, and I did really well at Swift. Occasionally I'd have to sit, but for the most part, they ran me pretty good through a bad time. $1.05 a mile still isn't good money still, Todd. Trucks for you is just another. Yeah, I think I agree with that. And that was the point I was getting to, is most guys to operate their truck is costing them, and I'm talking about in a lease purchase type deal, $1.10 a mile, maybe $1.20. So you got to figure at best at Trucks for You, you're going to net your fuel surcharge, which is what this week, 42, 43 cents at best. They were usually a little low on the fuel surcharge too. So you're probably in the high 30s, 30 cents a mile, 38 cents a mile, something like that is what you'll net at Trucks for You. There's company drivers jobs that are paying twice that. Why would you want all the headaches, all the tax responsibilities to make half what a company driver makes? WFX, you're going to have a little bit nicer equipment. They have a south of I-40 run. You could make some arguments that the freight's a little more consistent, but I wouldn't go to either one of those companies, I don't think. Now, I got to be careful saying that because if I lost this truck, I probably would go do a big mega carrier lease purchase somewhere. And I'd probably do truck shows and all the YouTube stuff that goes with it. Um, so here's what generally I'll say. I don't want to talk specifically about ShipX, but let me speak generally. I had a friend that worked there. Generally speaking, there's so many loopholes you've got to jump through to get those salaries that they might as well not even have one. And I mean, it could be something simple. You turn down one load or something like that, and they don't you don't qualify for the salary. Or you went home for one day, 1 week, and you don't qualify for the salary. And so I would just try to, if you're considering a company like that, I would say get something in writing about the requirements and qualifications to get the salary. And usually the salary is like 1,000, 1,200 bucks a week at a lot of these companies. So it's not like you're getting rich off of it anyway. But yeah, that's what I'd say about that. I don't want to bash a specific company because they're always changing those programs, and the information I may have about them might be outdated. That's all right, my friend. We're going long tonight, and I'm glad you're here. We've had a lot of great questions and a lot of great comments. If you get a chance to watch the replay, I think you'll really enjoy it. Hey, Steve is here. Thank you for being here. That's kind of funny, Steve, because you were razzing me about being late, weren't you? Or was that somebody else? I was thinking you was teasing me earlier. Life on 18 wheels. Always hated hauling paper through West Virginia. Here at Swift, it's like it's the only thing available in the area. Yeah, out of West Virginia, I hauled, what was it? It seems like I think it was paper now that I think about it. So I think you're right. Okay. Yeah, Jimmy was great at Swift. Yeah, somebody sent me uh, the information on that lawsuit, and I worked for them too long ago to qualify to be in that lawsuit. Basically, and I'm not a lawyer, let me stress that, but basically, it sounds like it's making false claims about money you could earn there and things like that. They were advertising more money than what you could realistically make there, was basically how I understood the lawsuit. You guys are free to go read it yourself and interpret it. I'm trying to give you the simple 30,000 foot view of it. It just sounded like they're questioning a lot of claims that WFX made. That's me. I had to get up and deliver here in Joplin. Yeah, that's what held me up tonight was a delivery. I had originally told them I'd delivered at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it worked out that they could take it tonight, so I delivered it tonight. So now I have actually three things on my agenda tomorrow. I got to go get blood drawn. I'm going to go eat at the restaurant my wife works at because I love their food, and I'm going to try to find a load out of here. It's very possible I won't get one of those three things done, but that's my three goals for tomorrow. Yeah, well, the way they advertise this, he said salary jobs usually based on the miles you run for the week or the month. So the way they structure these deals is they always use the example of, well, if you got somewhere and we didn't have any freight, then we would pay you the salary. Or if you got somewhere and your truck broke down, we'd pay you the salary. But what they'll do is a lot of times they'll say, well, your truck's going to be down for 2 weeks. Rather than paying you salary for 2 weeks, we'll either get you another truck so you can run, which involves moving all your stuff and all of that, or we'll bus you home until your truck's done. Well, then you're at home, so you don't get the salary no more. And so you just got to read the criteria and the qualifications real carefully. But that's how they always advertise it. And I've heard of a lot of guys getting cheated out of those salaries. Get a quick drink and we'll jump back in. That's been the great thing about this company I work for too. Back to the integrity thing again. That's why I'm excited to tell y'all about this company when I'm able to. Because integrity wise, I got nothing on him. He has not lied to me one time that I'm aware of. Now, is it possible? Is it possible that he's lied to me about something somewhere? Yeah, anything's possible. But I haven't caught him in one single lie. Um, Sometimes I've disagreed with him. I can think of twice that I've disagreed with, 3 times that I've disagreed with him. Only once it erupted into a disagreement. The other 2 times I just bit my tongue. But I got to say, he's honest. I haven't found any funny business on my settlements. He's always paid me when he said he'd pay me. He's always did what he said he was going to do. And that right there, you know, a lot of people say, well, Todd, you should be getting 88% instead of 80. Hey, I'll take 80 to work with an honest guy. I'll take 80 to not have to worry about if he's going to cheat me or lie to me. So I'm happy in the deal I'm in. I really am. I'd like to see you in at the 7 p.m. Yeah, but a lot of nights, even when I start at 5, we're still going strong at 7, and a lot of you are leaving to go to bed. Um, that now that I know you guys are more receptive to it, we may start doing some later shows. If I do have a delivery or something, rather than canceling the show, I may just say, hey, we're going to do the show tonight at 7 instead of 5, and put out a community post. Again, if you're subscribed, you'll see that community post and you'll know what's going on. Also, I try to fire up the computer an hour before the show because I have some back end stuff I have to do here to get ready for the show. And so that gives y'all time to get the notification and make preparations to watch. I appreciate y'all watching. The guy that helped me start this channel, he tried for about a year to talk me into doing it live. And he's like, Todd, I've been watching your viewers. He's like, this is what they want. And I said, they're not going to watch. I said, I'm going to be in there talking to myself. There'll be 3 guys in there. And I'm sitting here and there's 41 of you in here. And I can't believe that 41 people would join me, or now 40, somebody just checked out. But I'm so grateful that all of you are here. And I just can't believe that you devote 4 to 6 hours of your week to listening to me ramble. But I do appreciate it. That won't work out well for WFX there in Oklahoma, right to work state. Yeah. Yep. Well, but keep in mind, it's lease purchase independent contractors. So they've got those guys in a contract and you can quit, but whatever money you've put in escrows and all of that, they're going to keep. And I just hate it. If it only pays $800 a week, if that's all you're going to make, say it. Because there's some guys that they don't care what they make. They want to drive the pretty truck. And if you'll give them a pretty truck, they'll work for $800 a week. But they were advertising you'll make $2,300 a week. I saw one ad said you'd make $2,700 a week. And if you've got bills and you're living, if you've got $1,000, $1,500 worth a week of income requirements, and you show up and you get a $700 or $800 check, and you've pretty much bet the farm on this company, it could really put you in a bind. Just tell them, hey, 800 is what you're going to make. Can you live on that? Me, I probably could, and I'll tell you why. It'd be a big pay cut, but the YouTube videos I could do, Hurricane Express is another one. I could make videos every week at Hurricane Express, and say, look how pretty my truck is. Look at these wood cabinets. And I'd get a ton of views and I'd make a ton of YouTube money and stuff like that. But you wouldn't see me doing any settlement videos because y'all would laugh me off of YouTube. But I know how they do people at these companies, and I'm pretty selective about where I can work. Uh, this guy, another thing I like about this guy I'm working for, and I'm trying not to give too much away yet, but he won't just put you in the seat. You're going to talk to him for several weeks before he puts you in the seat. And so he's going to know you pretty well. You're going to know him pretty well. And you better be a good caliber driver and a pretty stand up guy. Because if he sniffs out a rat, he'll be done with you. And he'll tell you when you're eating dinner with him that he's interviewing you and you're interviewing him. So he wants you to ask him questions and make sure y'all are a good fit for each other. And I realize why that's harder to do once you get a bigger company. But I think that's part of what's wrong in trucking. They're so busy trying to fill seats that they don't care about the caliber of person that they put in those seats. And I know a company right now that a guy that does orientation for them told me that he said, Todd, I'll be doing class and guys will fall asleep in my class. I can hear them snoring. And he said, I want to say something to them. And the company said, I can't say nothing to them. If you don't care about enough about the company you're going awake or going to work for to stay awake for orientation, you're probably not going to be a very good driver for that company. I'd tell them to either stand up if they can't stay awake or to leave. Wesley said he did the paperwork for the lawsuit. I was there over a year. Well, maybe you'll get some money. I was outside of the hiring dates, so they said I didn't qualify. Over 1,000 employees have applied for that lawsuit. Yeah, I don't doubt that. I think you and the boss have integrity, so that's what makes your relationship work, in my opinion. Yeah, I think so. We're both very strong personalities, and we're both a handful at times. So I can certainly understand why at times I might frustrate him a little bit, and I think he understands why at times he could frustrate me. But overall, we got a good thing going because he doesn't have to worry. And I'm sure the first week he worried. He doesn't worry if I'm going to pick up on time or if I'm going to deliver on time. He calls about 2 or 3 times a week, and we just talk like two old friends usually. And he'll ask me if I need anything. I'll say, nope, I'm good. And then he say, all right, have a great day. If I messed up some paperwork or something, he'll tell me. I'll say, all right, I'm about to stop here in 30 minutes. I'll pull over and fix it. He'll say, no problem, just do it when you get a chance. And so I was concerned when I first hired on to him that he was going to be a micromanager or that he could be difficult to work with, but I haven't experienced that. He's been great to work with. Like I said, he's probably been better than I would have been if the roles would have been reversed, and he's been very good to me. So I think probably in the next couple of weeks or so, I'll be able to tell you guys where I'm at. And like I said, at that point, I'll have been here 3 months, and so I will have some knowledge. I've heard hurricane is a hurricane run. Yeah, what I've heard about them, and I don't know if this is true. This is secondhand knowledge. I've heard that if you have a payroll issue, you can't even talk to the payroll department. You have to go through your fleet manager. And I've heard that the office is locked and that you don't have access to the office staff, that you have to call in. And to me, that's suspicious. I didn't like it. I'll be completely honest. I didn't like it when Dart put up the bulletproof glass and wouldn't let you in the back. And they said it was because they were hauling some freight that, was cross border stuff and they had to be secure and all that. But Swift, the thing that surprised me about them, it was open during business hours. You could walk right back there with your dispatcher. Your badge was working. It was an open deal. And When I walked back there, they knew who I was. I didn't have to say I'm number such and such. They knew when I walked through the door who I was, and so I thought it was nice. I never liked the us versus them bulletproof glass thing. I like the open format that Swift had. Now, obviously, at night when nobody's there, they did have it locked up. But during business hours, you could walk right back to your dispatcher to his desk and talk to him. And if he wasn't busy, he'd get up and y'all go outside and talk. And if you smoked, he'd smoke a cigarette with you. I don't smoke, but a lot of times they'd come out in the break room and sit with us, talk to us, ask us what we thought. And I realized every OOC wasn't like that at Swift. But like I said, I had Jimmy in Oklahoma City, and he was just great. One of the best I've ever had. I don't like dispatchers, but if you have to have one, he's the one to have. See, here we go. All right, buddy, this old man's off to bed. See, all my viewers are going to bed, and we're down to 37. So maybe it is, we're hitting that 3.5 hour mark where everybody takes off. So maybe we will wrap it up soon. But first check in 21 days for your first check from Hurricane. Yeah, I heard that too, that they don't pay you for 3 weeks, and you have to advance money if you need money for that first 3 weeks. And then it ends up affecting when you do get your first check. So, again, part of that is I would just know if I went to Hurricane, I needed to have 3 weeks worth of money before I went there. And I wouldn't advance a penny from them unless I absolutely had to. And you don't even get the big hooded truck that everybody wants when you first get there. You start out in a pretty common truck with a decent paint job and some chicken lights. And then after 90 days, you can upgrade. But a lot of guys are saying that they're putting them on a waiting list at the 90 days that they don't have upgrade trucks. And those hooded trucks with the stacks and everything that everybody wants, the stacks are for decoration. If you look under the trucks, the stacks aren't connected. They're just there for decorative purposes. And he said Hurricane told him it costs $8,000 to hook the stacks up. So basically, it's all smoke and mirrors. It's not really what it appears to be. Now you can get an 18 speed and things like that, but what good does all that stuff do if you lose your house, you lose your family, and you can't pay your bills and all of that? I don't know. Maybe somebody else can answer that. How much time is allowed for discovery in that lawsuit? Not all. Please leave the video up so I can listen in the morning when I'm driving. Be safe, everyone. Love you all. Good night. Yeah, I don't take my videos down. I think in the whole 4 years or so I've been doing this, I've taken down 3 videos, and I've since put them back up. So I generally leave all my videos up. That's been going on for 2 years now, the lawsuit. There you go. So the lawsuit's been going for 2 years, and who knows, it may go another 5. They tend to drag those things out as long as they can. Have a great evening. Chin up and keep the wheels moving. Thanks, just stoking. I thought you might be a Power Stroke Ford guy, but it's stoking, not stroking. Hurricane trucks are 579s. Yeah, they've got some Peterbilts too, I think. I mean, some Kenworths too, some T680s, if I'm not mistaken. When I inquired with them a few years ago, they told me I would always have to go home under a load. Yeah, they may do that based on where you live or something. What I don't like is they'll have you drop your load and repower it. And man, sometimes that can really screw you on a load. And I wouldn't like going to that Hunts Point or whatever that place is they deliver to in the Northeast. Yeah, Michael, that's funny. Mr. Kenny G drives a hood truck at Hurricane. I'll be driving down the road and I'll start laughing thinking about you saying Kenny G. He does look exactly like Kenny G. If Kenny G ever needed a body double, that's his guy. He's got the hair and everything. Yeah, exactly. They got 389s too. That's correct. And but you can go get a 389 or a 579 anywhere. I mean, a lot of companies offer those, and you'd probably make more money. I'm thinking of Frey Miller and a lot of companies. Heck, Swift has 579s, and a lot of companies have 579s. That's not so you're driving that for 90 days, and then you're starting over in a hood if they have some. And from what I understand, you don't always get to pick the color like you'd think you would. They just say, hey, we got this truck and this truck. Which one do you want? And they're not always brand new. Sometimes a guy drove them for 6 months and decided he didn't want to starve to death and turned it on and went to greener, or turned it in and went to greener pastures. Let me see something real quick. Give you guys a second to leave some comments. If not, we're going to wrap it up pretty quick. Yeah, I think we probably already cut this one short. It's already, shoot, it's 10:30 at night here. I didn't realize it was so late. We've been going 3.5 hours. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. I appreciate each and every one of y'all being here. We'll see you Thursday night with something else. Y'all take care. Bye bye.